Hello, welcome back to another football commentaries live stream. The championship title and promotion race is coming close to an end, but still all is to play for in the championship. With Leicester losing and Leeds drawing last night, it has opened up a huge opportunity for Ipswich to climb to first in the table. The opposition they have in front of them is Watford, and they have little to play for with 5 games to go. They are currently sat in 14th position, 17 points off the playoffs, which are now out of reach. The Tractor Boys do come into this game off the back of a defeat to their closest rivals, Norwich, where a 1-0 loss means they haven't beaten them in 15 years. But in the bigger picture, Ipswich are eyeing up back-to-back promotions, which could see them in the Premier League for the first time since 2002. Watford are now playing under interim head coach Tom Cleverley, who is a former Watford player himself for over 7 years, and now under the 34-year-old they are unbeaten in 4 after winning their first game away to Birmingham and drawing the last 3. Away from home, Watford have won just 2 of their last 7, but have only fell to defeat twice in their last 12, leaving too many draws for the away side. In the reverse fixture in mid-December, Ipswich gained 3 points, which meant it was an early lead for Watford, and Ipswich were able to turn the game around. It was a winner in the 80th minute through captain Sam Morsey, which won it for Ipswich. So for the meeting of Ipswich and Watford at Portman Road, can Kieran McKenna's men take a huge leap towards the Premier League for top flight football next season? I don't think yesterday could have gone much better for Ipswich. Of course, I mean, Leeds losing would have been the prime set of results, Leicester and Leeds losing, but the fact that Leicester fell to a defeat at Millwall, who lost the week before away to bottom of the league Rotherham, it just shows you how crazy this division is. Then Leeds dropping points against Sunderland, who have been struggling a lot recently. Again, it's just a bad draw at home for Leeds after they lost at the weekend as well to Coventry away. So it does leave a chance for Ipswich to win the game and go top of the league. If they were to win, they would put themselves on 90 points. That would be 2 clear of Leicester, who would drop into second, and it would be 3 points clear of Leeds, who would then go into third. So it's a huge night for Ipswich to get themselves top of the league based on points earned in terms of games played. Leicester would have played a game less. So it does mean that top spot could be taken off them again, Ipswich, if they were to win. But I think for Ipswich, I'm not sure if they're too bothered if they win the league or come second. First or second gets them promotion, and that's exactly what they want. Of course, they would want to win the league. It would be a fantastic bonus if they were to go all the way and have the title come the end of the season. But I think for Ipswich, if they can just somehow get promoted, if that even is finishing in second, they will 100% take it. Like I say, back-to-back promotions it would be for them. They finished second last season behind Plymouth on 98 points. They did lose the least amount of games, though, in the league. They only lost 4 last season, Ipswich, but they did draw 14. This season's not too dissimilar. They're not drawing as many games, Ipswich. They've won 26, drew 9, and lost just the 6. And out of those 6, they've lost 1 at home, and that was to Leeds. It was a 4-3 defeat back in late August. How big are those 3 points now for Leeds coming towards the end of the season? Yeah, obviously, I don't think they would have given too much of a look at to Ipswich at the start of the season. I don't think they would have thought Ipswich would be this high up the table, but it's where Kieran McKenna, their head coach, has got them to, and it's just a fantastic achievement for this club, who have not been in the Premier League for 22 years now. They spent 4 seasons in League One before their promotion to the Championship this season. And for Watford, we usually do know them as a Premier League side themselves. They spent 5 seasons in a row in the Premier League before being relegated in 2020. They got straight back up for the 21-22 season, but went straight back down again after finishing 19th. And last season they finished 11th. This season they're in 14th. They're not going to be able to reach the playoffs. It's been another lacklustre season for this Watford team, who we know can be a Premier League side, but obviously things have gone wrong for them. A constant change of head coach and manager. The quality of players they've now got are a lot worse off than what they had when they were in the Premier League. So it just seems like they're starting to nosedive downwards a little bit, Watford, and they just need to find a stable manager to try and take them up the table in this division. They don't want to keep dropping down every season. Last season was 11th, this season 14th. They don't want to go further down next season. They want to try and get themselves as high as possible. And could Tom Cleverley be the head coach or be the manager to take them places? They're only 34 years of age. Tom Cleverley retired in the summer, and he was the Watford under-18s manager, and he's been the manager since he retired. But, of course, since the sacking of Valérien Ismaël in early March, it does mean that Cleverley's had to step in to the first-team role of head coach, and in fairness to him, they're unbeaten. 4 games, just the 1 win, though, in his first against Birmingham away, but they have drawn the last 3, but picking up decent draws. Preston at home, that's not a bad result, a 0-0 draw, even though they should have really won that game in all honesty. 11 shots with 72% of the possession. But draw into Preston, draw into Leeds as well recently at Vicarage Road. It's not a bad set of results. Of course, Cleverley would have wanted more wins, but I don't think you can really pick and choose what games you win and what games you draw and which games you lose. I think he's got to take the results as a positive at the moment. Like I say, their away record in terms of winning isn't great, as mentioned just before. They've only won 2 of their last 7 on the road, Watford, but they have only lost 2 of their last 12 away from home. So they don't lose very often on their travels recently. And it's going to be a challenge for Ipswich. I'm sure they'll fancy themselves 100% to go ahead and take the 3 points. They thrive off momentum and believing in themselves, and seeing the results yesterday, seeing Leicester lose to Millwall away, seeing Leeds draw to Sunderland at home, it's got to lift them. It's got to give them that extra drive to go ahead and get the 3 points tonight, put themselves in such a good position with 4 games left to play. But in fairness for Ipswich, their next 3 are really difficult fixtures. They're playing teams who are, all of them are just outside the playoffs. They've got Middlesbrough at the weekend at home, and then they've got Hull away a couple of weeks after, and then they've got Coventry away as well. It's a huge set of games coming up. Their final game of the season is at home to Huddersfield, who could be fighting for their lives come the time of that game, so that could also be a difficult one for them. But after Middlesbrough, Ipswich have a 2-week gap, which could either work for them or against them, because obviously football at this point of the season, you like to get the games played because it brings momentum, but they have a 2-week break because they're meant to play Coventry, but Coventry are in the FA Cup semi-final, so obviously that game's had to be moved. So they do have a bit of a late season break, Ipswich, as we'll quickly go through the starting 11s now, as we'll start with the Ipswich side, and it is Hladky in goal with Clark, Edmondson, Burgess and Davis as a back 4. 2 holding midfielders of captain Sam Morsey, and alongside him is Jack Taylor. 3 behind the striker. On the right is Caden Jackson. On the left is Nathan Broadhead. In behind the striker is Amari Hutchinson. And up front, through the middle, is their loanee signing from Bournemouth in January, and that is Kiefer Moore. He has got 6 Ipswich goals so far, all of them in the Championship, but he hasn't scored in his last 4. For Watford, it is Bachmann in goal with a back 5 of Ryan Andrews, Matty Pollock, Ryan Porteous, Wesley Hoot and Jamal Lewis. 2 in the central of midfield, Tom Delibashiru will partner Edo Kayembe, and the 3 up front. On the right is Yasser Espria, on the left is Georgie Chakvetadja, and through the middle is Vakun Bayo, who has scored 1 since December, and that came in their recent 2-2 draw against Leeds. He is making his 4th start in a row, which have all come under Cleverley, so he's starting to get a run of games in the side. Vakun Bayo, who's just 27 years of age, formerly of Celtic, scored 2 in 17 for the Scottish side, but it's a difficult place to come to here. Ipswich, unbeaten in their last 18 at home in the Championship. They've only lost once here all season in the league. 5 wins in a row. And the last team to pick up any points in this stadium was West, where they've not drawn actually at the ground. They've won. So they have drawn in this ground before, but the 15 wins for them in 20. Their last draw at home was 2-2 to West Brom back in the early start of February. So it's been a while since a team has come here and picked up points. We will have Ipswich to kick off, kicking left to right. It'll be Watford right to left. It's the home team that will start with kick-off, and that will be with their number 20, Amari Hutchinson. So when these two sides last met in December, Ipswich took the 3 points, They want the same today. We've got Kickoff underway. Edmondson sending it long and out to the Ipswich left, where it's a header forward for Watford through Andrews, headed back forward by Taylor, controlled by Broadhead, played through here for Jackson in the box, who has an early strike. That's been blocked. It falls to Kayembe for Watford outside the area, who will clear it forward. It deflects in the sky. It's headed out wide left by Bayo to Chakfatadja. And it is Watford who are on the ball. A very quick start there from the home team. A brilliant ball inside from Broadhead, and Jackson, who's playing right wing, drifted over into a more central area, and he got a shot off at goal, but it was well blocked, and it is the home side back in possession just inside their own half here with the number 15 of Cameron Burgess, who's got the one goal so far this season, came quite recently in their 6-0 home win against Sheffield Wednesday. Did miss a couple of games though in January and February, the Australian centre-back, due to his involvement in the Gold Cup for his national side. Tonight's referee is Sam Barrett. The last time he was the referee for an Ipswich game was their 4-0 away win at Millwall back in mid-February. Obviously Leicester were there last night away at Millwall, and they were defeated by a 1-0. It was Watford on the ball. They went long there, Ipswich, and it went to Bachmann, but then it was taken out of his hands there, and it's a free kick given to Watford inside the 18-yard box. They're going to push up the pitch here, the away team, as they've come under a little bit of early pressure from Ipswich. Nothing major, but they have conceded the shot already. As Bachmann goes long towards Bayo. Can't quite head it out to the right-hand side there to Andrews. It's headed forward there for Watford, but then it's dealt with by Davis, the left-back, who will leave it for Burgess, who will clear it down the left-hand side. It's headed inside by Moore. Can't quite find Hutchinson. Driving it forward here is Ryan Porteous. Goes out to the left wing here to Chakfatadja. He does have Jamal Lewis, the left wing back, overlapping him. He'll play it to Lewis, who goes back to the halfway line here to the number 5 of Ryan Porteous, who made his 50th championship appearance in their last league game of the weekend in that 0-0 draw to Preston North End. It's now on the halfway line. Good turn here by Deli Bashiru, who tries to get away from Morsey, but he's been pulled back by the Ipswich captain. And there'll be a free kick there for Watford. Away the lads, I'm on the side of Ipswich. They can reach the top of the table. They can reach the top. 3 points for Ipswich puts them top of the division. Leicester would have a game in hand, and Leicester would just be 2 points behind them. So Leicester winning their game in hand will put them back top. But as we were mentioning before the start of the game, I don't think Ipswich care if they win the league or not. As long as they get in that top 2, get promoted, that's exactly what they want. As Watford clip the ball into the box here through the free kick. It goes to the far post where Jackson needs to clear it. He just about toe pokes it away, only as far as Espria, who sprays out to the right wing here for Watford. It's Chakfatadja, who will try and put the ball back in. Blocked there by Broadhead. Up in the air it goes. Kayembe sends it to the left again for Watford, and they restart in the centre circle here with number 45, Ryan Andrews, a current England under-20 international, as he's been closed down by Kiefer Moore, and he sends it out to the right-hand side here. Good keeping of the ball there by Andrews. It's now Kayembe on the far side, bringing it back into Andrews. It's now in the back line now with Matty Pollock. 7th start for him this season. They've all come in the last 15 games in the Championship. As it's now Jamal Lewis forward from left wing back, midway side the Ipswich half on this near side. Completes a 1-2 with Chakfatadja. And it's now back into the Ipswich half here with Ryan Porteous, formerly of Hibernian, before joining in January 2023. He's been a constant in the Watford side this season. Ryan Porteous making his 7th start in a row in the league. As Hoot, the centre-back, goes long and out to the Watford left. Can't quite find Lewis. Headed forward by Clark for Ipswich. Picked up, though, by Chakfatadja for Watford. And they've got the ball again on the halfway line here, with Deli Bashiru keeping it away from Jackson. Porteous goes all the way back into the Watford 18-yard box here with Dan Bachmann, who's been back in goal recently for Watford after playing no minutes between December and March. And he's been reintroduced into the side, lost his spot, and was on the bench in the reverse fixture in December. Made you have a link for the match. I'm so sorry, I don't, unfortunately. I don't have any link. I'm watching it on the Now TV app through a Now TV stick. You can get it through there. You can watch all of tonight's games on there. So sorry, mate, don't have the link for you. As it's still Watford on the ball here. Going forward down the right-hand side here. Poor touch by Espria. Gives it away to Edmondson. It's now Ipswich who can try and keep the ball. It's with Burgess, who's been forced to go backwards into their 18-yard box here with Haladki. Takes a touch with his right foot, clears with the left. Up it goes beyond the halfway line, looking for Kiefer Moore. Headed down by Hoots, and it'll be a free kick for Ipswich. Just inside the Watford half. Wesley Hoot just been a bit too physical there with Kiefer Moore. And that's what he brings. The 6'5" Welshman. He brings that height. He brings that different option that you can go for. You can be a little bit more direct with him up front. And Watford have settled into the game nicely as the away team, but I don't think Ipswich will mind them having early bits of possession, because Ipswich know once they get forward and they get going, they can be really dangerous. They have just given the ball away there, though. Right back Harry Clark just playing it a bit too far behind Caden Jackson, and it rolls out for a Watford throw-in. Midway inside their own half, on this near side, it'll be taken by Ryan Porteous, who did start once for Scotland in the recent international break against the Netherlands, which was a 4-0 defeat. His throw-in reaches Aspria, who's dispossessed by Taylor on halfway. Ipswich trying to release it through Taylor, but he can't find Jackson. Won back by Jamal Lewis, who will bring the ball forward in the Ipswich half. Finds Bayo, who's got an option out to the right. And he finds Andrews, first time passing to the middle. Lewis lays it off for Bayo, and their flag goes up in the box. Fluid attacking there from Watford. Working out to the right-hand side. That's where all the space was. And it was a really good first-time pass from Andrews. But his ball to Lewis found the left wing back in an offside position. As we're 6.5 minutes in, Ipswich had an early shot on goal within the first minute. Watford haven't really tested Haladki yet, but they've had spells of possession. Definitely more possession than Ipswich have had so far. And the last time Watford won here was back in February 2013. It was a 2-0 win. And the last time these two sides were in the same division was in the 2014-2015 season. And it was a league double for Ipswich, winning 1-0 in both. And they're looking to do a league double again over the Hornets. As it's Ipswich forward in the final third. Jackson lays it off to the right back of Clark. Morsey bringing it forward. Tackle from behind by Bayo. Then Chakfadadji tries to join in with the tackling, but he gives it away to Clark. It's now back on halfway with Edmondson for Ipswich. It's to the right back, Clark, who goes down the line here for Hutchinson. Got Porteous on his back. Hutchinson goes backwards himself to Clark, then forward towards Moore. Loses out to Hoot. And it's now with Kayembe for Watford. Aspria in the centre circle. Driving away from Broadhead, and Aspria goes for an early shot towards goal within the centre circle there, trying to maybe recreate Bruno Fernandes moment that we saw on Sunday. Was quite high and wide there in the end by Yasser Aspria, who does have the confidence to do something like that. Hasn't scored in his last 8, though, in the league. His last came back on the 17th of February, but he has scored against Ipswich this season, the Colombian. Look at that, yeah, getting the views. Yep, there we go. Zaki Waki, wow, okay. As Ipswich just starting to get into the game a little bit more. Crossfield ball towards Jackson on the right, heads it inside towards Kiefer Moore, but the header's won by Hoot on the edge of his box, and he heads it back to his own goalkeeper of Backman. And it'll be Watford on the ball, who look like they are playing with a little bit of confidence. They've got absolutely nothing to play for. Watford, they can't get in the playoffs, and they definitely will be relegated. They're too far away for that. So they have got that extra freedom to play with. And under an interim head coach, I think that brings even more license to kind of try things, experiment, almost start planning for next season. Use these games as an advert to show what you can do to keep your place in the team for the next campaign. As Ipswich have got it back midway side the Watford half. On the far side, there's a trip there on Leif Davis from Ryan Andrews. And it's a free kick for the home team. It's out wide to the left. So it's quite a nice angle for a cross here. And Leif Davis, we know, can deliver them into the box. The left back for Ipswich has got 16 assists this season in the league. He is, of course, the top assister in the division. He also was the top assister last season in League One. 14 he got. So he's only got 2 more this season in a higher division. Brought in from Leeds last season. As he'll cross it in from the free kick. It's headed on by Kiefer Moore, and it's well wide of the post in the end from the Welshman. About 12 yards out. Of course, he's going to win the header. It's such a height of 6'5". Some of us can only dream of being that tall, but he couldn't quite direct his header in. It's been a brilliant loan signing, though, from Kieran McKenna to bring in Kiefer Moore, who won promotion with Bournemouth a couple of seasons ago, finishing second place. As Bachmann clips it out towards the Watford left, straight over the head of Jamal Lewis. And just throwing on halfway for Ipswich on this near side. Not the greatest of kicks forward there by Bachmann. As we're 10 minutes in, we're lacking big chances so far in this game. But we know Ipswich don't need many big chances to score goals. They've been very clinical this season. A throw in from Clark goes down the line towards Moore. Loses out there to Porteous. And in fact, the last touch came off Kiefer Moore. So that'll be a throw in for Watford instead. On this near side, they'll be left to be taken by Ryan Porteous. But the thing is with Watford, they didn't start the greatest and they've not really had a spell in the season where they've had a consistent run. They won 2 of their first 11 in the league. The wins coming against QPR on the opening day and then to Birmingham as well. Both of them were at home. As Ipswich lose the ball through the throw-in, they were aiming for Bayo there, but he got dispossessed quite easily, but they've won it back there through Matty Pollock, who works it to the right here to Andrews, just inside the Ipswich half. Plays it inside to Kayembe. And then Kayembe goes back here to Pollock. And then to Bachmann in the Watford 18-yard box. He's going to go long with the clearance down the Watford right, and no one's chasing it deep inside the Ipswich half. So it'll roll through to their goalkeeper of Haladki, who's been unbelievable this season, the 33-year-old goalkeeper. 13 clean sheets so far this season. He's played every minute in the Championship. But some of the saves he's made in such vital games has been really impressive. You know, he was only playing in League 2 3 seasons ago, Haladki, with Salford. As Harry Clark runs it out of play. Last touch there off Chak Fatadja. It'll be Ipswich throwing. Inside the Watford half here, on this near side. Clark waiting for a bit of movement before throwing the ball here. He's going to aim it towards Hutchinson, who controls it with his chest. Tries to poke it on, and he does find Taylor. Then forward to Broadhead, who tries to slip it through for Hutchinson. It deflects off Pollock. Finds Leif Davis, who's tripped there by, I think that was Yasser Espria. And it'll be a free kick again for Ipswich. More on the inside here. It's not as out wide as the previous one. Still a similar range, actually, about midway inside the Watford half. And it is Espria, who's also hurt himself a little bit from his own tackle, but he's back onto his feet, hobbling away. But it's a second attempt here for Leif Davis, the Ipswich fullback, to put another cross in the box. His first one did find Kiefer Moore, who couldn't direct it on target, but they have got another attempt here, 12.5 minutes into this game at Portman Road. Ipswich want the lead to put themselves top of the table with just less than a month of the season to go. The referee's not happy with what's going on the edge of the box here, so the delay is being taken here for the free kick. I think he's having a discussion there with Ryan Porteous and George Edmondson, as the Watford line is just outside the 18-yard box, so it's a pretty high line, as Leif Davis is around 35 yards out here. He needs to get the delivery right. He's got 2 arms in the air. He delivers the cross in. It's a bit of a deep one this time. Header won by Hoots for Watford. It drops out here to Morsey for Ipswich, who goes back to the halfway line here to Clark. Switches it out to the left. It is headed backwards by Edmondson, then headed forward by Broadhead. That goes in the right direction for Ipswich. It's now with Davis, the fullback, who's been forced to go back here to Burgess. Inside here to Taylor. Takes it nicely, trying to get around Kayembe. Goes down the line for Davis. Back to Taylor it goes, and then they restart in their own half here with Cameron Burgess. Oh, everyone's in the chat. Wow, really? Everyone's getting involved. Wow, we've got a lot of people in as well. Wow, that's more than I thought. I've hid how many people are watching, so I don't get distracted. But it's fantastic to see so many people in here on a Champions League night as well. But the Champions League games aren't that exciting for me. I think this game's more important, personally. As Ipswich attack down their right-hand side in the final third of Morsey. Forward to Hutchinson. He's got Clark to his right. He's got Kiefer Moore in the box if he wants to try and deliver a ball in. He lays it off here to Clark. Inside it goes to Morsey, who turns away from Chak Fatadja. Morsey turning again out towards the right-hand side and playing the pass to Clark. He's got Deli Bashira in front of him. He tries a 1-2 with Hutchinson, and Hutchinson eventually works the 1-2 with Morsey instead. It's been cut out there by Hoot, just outside the 6-yard box, and it's a thrown for Ipswich, but the fans like what they were seeing there. Good interchange of passing between the likes of Clark, then Morsey to Hutchinson as well. As Hutchinson receives it from the throw and plays it down the line towards Jackson, seen out for a goal kick by Porteous on 15 minutes in here at Portman Road. It's Ipswich 0, Watford 0. Ipswich dominated the possession in the opening 5 minutes, but I'd say for the last 10, Ipswich have started to grow into the game themselves, started to dominate more of the ball. As they play out from the back, they've got it forward here to Deli Bashiru. Squares it to the left here to Kayembe. It's now on the halfway line with Chak Fatadja, who gets away from Morsey, pulled back by the captain. And he's going to escape a booking there. The Watford players are asking for one, because usually that is just a mandatory booking. A pull on the arm like that, stopping Chak Fatadja from advancing any further into the Ipswich half, but he's going to get away with that. But the Watford players certainly let the referee know what they thought of that challenge, and that should have been cards coming out of the referee's pocket. As Watford work out to this near side, Lewis flicks it into Chak Fatadja, who turns very nicely. Morsey is following him around, but he plays it forward here to Espria, tries to slip the ball through into the box to Bayo. Well cut out there by Burgess, who clears it forward. And it drops into the Watford half here, where it'll be cleaned up by captain Wesley Hoot, who goes back to his goalkeeper of Backman on the edge of the 18-yard box. Now Deli Bashiru. He's got Pollock in a right centre-back position here. He goes down the line to Andrews. On once more looking for Espria. Intercepted there by Leif Davis, and it's a throw-in on the far side here for Watford, who failed to win any of their first 5 on the road in the Championship this season. They'd sack their previous manager, Valerian Ismail, in early March, who had signed a contract extension in the October of 2023. Didn't survive much of that contract, but can we be shocked by Watford changing their manager within a season? They do it multiple times usually. As Caden Jackson pulls it across the edge of the box, it's helped away by Kayembe, helped forward by Taylor, drops it towards Broadhead, who kicks it looking for Hutchinson, who puts it in the air himself to Morsey, gets it on the ground with a pass to right back Clark, who gets away from Chak Fatadja. Clark advances forward on the edge of the box, finds more, flicks it through. Broadhead with the shot, and as he drills it towards the bottom left corner, it's saved quite comfortably in the end there by Backman. It's a really good advancing run there by Clark from fullback, and it's a good layoff by Kiefer Moore to find Nathan Broadhead, but the shot couldn't quite find enough of the corner to really challenge the goalkeeper. As Kayembe forward to Espria, beyond the halfway line now for Watford in the central area. He's got options out to the left, and he finds Jamal Lewis here, who's forward from wing back the number 6. He wants an early cross. He'll go for the early crossing towards Bayo. It's collected by Haladki, quite confidently there by Ipswich's number 31. And it's Ipswich to restart from the back on the edge of their 18-yard box here with Cameron Burgess. He's making his 35th appearance of the season in the Championship, out of a possible 42. It's with the right back Harry Clark, who did come through the Ipswich Academy at a young age and left for Arsenal for 8 years before returning to Ipswich in January of 2023 on a permanent deal. It's on the halfway line here with their captain and number 5, Sam Morsey, who scored the winner between these two back in mid-December at Vicarage Road. It was an 80th minute winner for the number 5, who's been so important for Ipswich this season. As the ball forward there by Edmondson, can't find Kiefer Moore or Nathan Broadhead. It almost went right in the middle of the two of them, and neither of them really took responsibility to take the ball on. So they have lost out, and it's now Watford trying to get the ball forward here. Chak Fatadja bringing it forward, slips it through for Bayo in the box. On his left foot, he shoots early, and it's a sliding block there from Burgess, and it's an opening for Watford as we're about to hit the 19th minute here. Definitely showing signs, Watford, that they can get through and have chances tonight. It's been a really good start by the man who looks like he'll be taking the corner, and that is Georgie Chak Fatadja, who was on loan from Ghent until January, where he moved here permanently. And he takes it short to Espria, crosses it in, it's an outswinger to the far post. Bayo heads forward, and it loops over the crossbar. And behind for a goal kick for Ipswich. I don't think necessarily either of the two teams have had a bad start. I think they've both been okay. Nothing spectacular, but they seem assured of themselves, of the way they play. They don't seem nervous, don't seem lacking of confidence. Just neither team's really showed that needed quality to break through and get that opening goal, as Ipswich are playing a risky game here at the back, trying to play out with Edmondson going across the goalkeeper of Hladky. He's got loads of time on the ball in his 6-yard box and fires it to the left here to Burgess. Born in Aberdeen, but represents Australia at international level. As he plays a great ball through down the left-hand side. That's a brilliant pass. Moore goes into the box, but he's stopped by a slide challenge there from Hoot. That is a brilliant tackle from the Dutchman. It was a great ball down the left channel there by Burgess. He can do that from the back. And as Moore tried to chop onto his right foot in the box, he was stopped really well by Wesley Hoot. As at the moment, it's Amari Hutchinson who's down in the centre circle. I think he may have been caught possibly in the face off the ball. He's telling the referee that there was an elbow involved, but the referee didn't see it. That's why the play continued and we had Ipswich down their left-hand side into the final third, but nothing came of it in the end. But if you are new, if you could like and subscribe, it really does help the channel out. A lot of you have already liked, which is a massive help and it is appreciated. As you can see, we've got 2 more commentaries coming this week. We've got one tomorrow, Leverkusen taking on West Ham in the Europa League, and we're also covering the women's game as well. Manchester United women taking on Chelsea women in the FA Cup semi-final. It is a very strange kickoff time of 2:35 UK time. No idea why it's 2:35, but that's the time it is. And we've also got one on Monday as well, as Chelsea host Everton in the Premier League. So 3 more coming within the next 5 days or so as we're back underway here. Hutchinson's back to his feet and it's Watford breaking. Lewis is free to his left as if Chakford can find him, and he does. Lewis goes for a first time cross, deflects back to him, but his touch is poor and it will be seen out of play for a goal kick. Just seems like a bit of a waste there by Jamal Lewis, whose first ball was deflected and it went back to him, and then as he tried to control the ball down, it just almost just sprung off his boot and behind for a goal kick. So for Ipswich, if they are to draw tonight, it does put them second, a point ahead of Leeds, as they've played the same amount of games. So it wouldn't be the worst result in the world, but against a mid-table team like Watford, you'd expect them to get 3 points. As they go long out to the left-hand side, it's over the head of Davis, who was getting forward from full-back, and it's a throw-in midway side the Watford half for the away team, and it'll be taken by their number 15 of Matty Pollock, who spent 7 years at Leeds himself before moving on to Grimsby, where he left to join Watford for £250,000. As he throws it to the halfway line here, Bayo chests it down, plays it back to Pollock, who goes high and in behind the Ipswich defence. It's brought down by Edmondson. He can't quite get out of his feet originally, but eventually he does, away from Aspria. And it's back to Hladky, who goes forward to Morsey on the edge of the box. A little bit of a nervy moment there for the Ipswich supporters, and Edmondson nearly lost the ball. Just getting it caught under his feet. And it's with Ipswich in the centre circle with Edmondson, who's only played in one of the last 11 championship games for Ipswich, and that came in their 1-0 away win against Blackburn at the end of March. He's not really been used as frequently as he probably would have wanted to this season, Edmondson, who was brought in from Rangers for around £1 million just less than 3 years ago. There's Hladky, goes up towards Moore. Hoot will clear for Watford, deep into the Ipswich half, where it's Edmondson again to head it backwards to Burgess, who heads it on once more to Hladky. And it's Ipswich to have the ball again. In fairness, though, to Watford, they haven't tasted defeat in a month now. Their last defeat was at home to Coventry. Since then, Tom Cleverley's took over. And they have gone 4 unbeaten, 1 win in the 3 draws. As Ipswich are going to go up towards Broadhead, chest it down as he drifts from the left wing to the right. Finds Hutchinson, who's running at Jamal Lewis. Hutchinson into the box, skips beyond 2 Watford players and he pulls it across. Can't find Broadhead. It just got away from Jackson. It's hurried away by Watford. Really good footwork to enter the box there by Amari Hutchinson, who's on loan from Chelsea for the season. It's his first ever season of first team football, senior football. And that was some real magic feat there. Just couldn't quite find the pass to a teammate. But Ipswich will come again as they build from the halfway line here with Burgess. Lays it off to Morsey just to his right. Goes to his right once more here to Edmondson. Clark, the right back, is the easy option. That's who he goes towards. It's now with Jackson back to Clark, who goes forward into the final third. He slips it through looking for Jackson's run, cut out by Porteous. And it's now with Deli Bashiru for Watford. He can really bring the ball forward until he falls over his own feet. And it's taken off him by Morsey. Through for Hutchinson. On the edge of the box. On his left foot. Slightly off balance. Chops onto his right. Flicks it through towards Moore. But it's cleared again for Watford. Headed back forward by Burgess. Controlled by Taylor. And finds Morsey. Good midfield work there by Jack Taylor as he gets a short pass from Morsey. But he deflects back to the captain from a touch from Espria. Got away with that one there, Morsey. Big time. As a fan of EPL, I miss the VAR-less Championship 100%. It's so much better without VAR. Just letting the referee ref the game. If he makes mistakes, it's part of the game. You've just got to live with it, unfortunately. Because VAR definitely takes the life out of so many games. You can't celebrate goals properly half of the time. There's a high ball into the Watford box. It's flicked on by Broadhead. Can't quite find Moore. As Kiefer Moore pushes Hoot into Backman. And they're not happy with what he's done there, the Welshman. And it's a free kick for Watford in their 18-yard box. 26 minutes in, still goalless. Imagine if our games had that. That would help us out with the offsides, for sure. That would be really funny. Leeds fan, after yesterday's match, I really wish we had a VAR something because, well, yes, yeah, I get it. The standard of refereeing in this country is appalling. It's really bad. And my argument for no VAR is the VAR makes them worse because sometimes they still get it horrifically wrong with the help from VAR. So it's almost like just let them make the original mistake. Don't let them try and get it right, because usually when they try and get it right, they get it more wrong a lot of the time. But there's definitely arguments for or against. There's moments where you want it, there's moments where you don't. I think teams in the Championship and below just need to, just enjoy these games where there isn't VAR, because it is, for me, it's better. Like I said, I go to Stockport County games who are in League 2, League 1 soon, and I love it, no VAR. I think it's great. Ref make a mistake, you get on the back, tell them what you think, and then you move on. As Ipswich have had a chance there, low ball into the near post for Kiefer Moore, who latched onto it first time. He's aiming for the near post towards the top right corner, but he's just ballooned it wide of the post and high into the stands. But he was good attacking down that right flank there, I think, from Caden Jackson. I don't think Ipswich will be panicking yet, but Watford have definitely matched them so far for the whole. As Watford go long up to the halfway line, looking towards Bayo. Can't quite reach it. The Ivorian striker. And it goes through to Burgess. And it's now on this near side in the Ipswich half with Harry Clark. He spent the first half of last season on loan at Stoke from Arsenal before leaving in the January permanently for his boyhood club of Ipswich. It's now on the far side with Davis. Takes on Andrews. Davis, that is brilliant. He's going to go for a cross in, and it's a low one. It's well cut out there by Hoot. And it will bounce away for... It's not gone for a corner. Davis has to tackle the ball out of play there off Espria. And it's going to be a throw right next to the corner flag for Watford. As the cross went in, it deflected towards the byline. It looked like it was going to bounce out for a corner, but that was avoided. And Watford have eventually won the throw-in. VAR, I think, was the worst mistake to bring into some games. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of it personally, just because of the fact they get it so wrong still, so often. It's like, what's the point? You're not even getting it right with so much help of all the cameras and all the replays. I just don't see... I mean, it will never go. It will always be around now. It'll never disappear for sure, but it's just a shame, really. As Watford have got it from the right-hand side to the left, on the halfway line here with Lewis. Goes inside here to Chuck Fatadja. It goes to the left centre half here of Porteous. Across to Hoot, the captain. He's been closed down by Kiefer Moore. Goes back to Backman in the 18-yard box, who clears it. It's not a great clearance. It's out to the right-hand side there, where it's headed forward by Davis, and then headed forward for Watford by Kembe. Straight to Morsey in the centre circle, who brings it forward. Wants to slip it through towards Moore, but it's cut out by Pollock, who can then eventually clear the ball away for Watford. It just seems like Ipswich are just waiting for the moment to find that killer ball in behind. They've tried it a couple of times, but Watford have read the passes well and have kept the spaces limited. As for Kieran McKenna, the Ipswich head coach, he is searching for his 75th win as the Ipswich boss. His league record for Ipswich, so his record from League One and the Championship. He's took charge of 110 games before tonight. He's won 65 and only lost 14. It's ridiculous. As Jackson crosses to the far post for Ipswich, it goes beyond everyone. And out for a throw-in on the opposite side for Watford. Davis couldn't keep it in. So far, Ipswich have definitely been the more successful down the Watford right side. Down the Watford left side, sorry. And down their right, using the likes of Harry Clark and Caden Jackson. Jackson, usually a striker, but he's been played out wide tonight. He's only scored one in his last 30 games in the league. And that was at Sunderland against Sunderland in the start of January. As we'll have a look at the other results around the grounds in the Championship, as Watford take that throw in eventually, straight to Burgess for Ipswich, who gets it forward into the box there for Kiefer Moore, who can flick it on towards goal, but no one's chasing it for Ipswich, and it's into the hands of the Watford goalkeeper of Backman. And by the way, Ipswich and their goal scoring at home this season in the league has been absolutely ridiculous. They have scored 3 or more in 13 of their 20 home games in the league this season. 3 or more in 13 of 20. That is ridiculous. It just shows that when I think for Ipswich, it's once one's gone in, the floodgates open, and then the spaces appear, and they start to really penetrate them, and it's where they start scoring their goals. As Ipswich, big switch out to the right there by Kiefer Moore, brought down by Caden Jackson, lays it off to the halfway line to Clark, who goes for a ball into the space in behind, but no one's there making the run. Straight through for Watford on the edge of their box here with Porteous. Forward here to Deli Bashiru. Bit of time in the midfield here. And he plays out to the right here to Matty Pollock. He's got options out wide. Finds Andrews, who can go straight towards Pollock. Cut out by Broadhead, who then loses out to Andrews, who's pulled back there by the number 33. And it is a free kick there for Watford, just inside their own half on that far side. And in fairness to Ipswich, it's been almost an ultra consistent season. They've had one little blip where they only won one of their 9 Championship games from December the 16th through to the February the 10th. So they've only had a 2-month drop-off in the whole season. They've still been able to keep themselves right within the race for automatic promotion, which is just nothing short of incredible with the fact they were only promoted last season into this division. As other results, we've got Bristol City leading Blackburn 2-0. Birmingham and Cardiff are also 0-0. So is West Brom Rotherham. Swansea 1-up at home to Stoke. And Middlesbrough are leading away from home at Hull in that big game for a playoff spot. Wonder what Ipswich amount of 90 plus minutes. I mean, I have lots of stats to bring you, but unfortunately that's not one I've got. But their biggest winner recently in the 90th minute has got to be that winner against Southampton. Almost the last kick of the game, Sarmiento off the bench. That was a really big victory. That was on the Easter weekend as Ipswich have lost it on the edge of the box. Chak Fataja in the area, on his left foot, gets it onto his right, goes backwards to Lewis, who crosses it towards the far post, and it's well held and caught by Haladki. Just need to be careful losing it in such a position there, Ipswich. Because, of course, Watford have got a little bit of confidence of their own. Unbeaten in their last 4. But it's definitely, I mentioned it not long ago, it's not been a bad half from any of the two teams. We're just lacking that extra bit of quality which puts teams in the lead. As it's Ipswich on this near side with Hutchinson, goes back into the defensive third here for Clark, then into the 18-yard box to Edmondson, who needs to get it down the line. He'll clear it. It's a high ball where it's headed on for Ipswich by Watford's Espria, and then Moore finds Jackson. Broadhead loses out to Deli Bashiru, and it's now the away side on the ball on the near side of Hoot, down the line to Espria. You can't quite keep it under control, and it bounces off his foot for an Ipswich throw inside their own half. Got 11 minutes of the first half to play here. And it is Ipswich who have put themselves back into the top 2 for now. As their throw-in goes to Moore, who's going to shield it out for another throw-in as the last touch came off Porteous, and the throw-in's been taken quickly by Clark. Can't find Jackson, headed out of play by Hoots, but it's now a throw-in in the final third for Ipswich. So they've pushed themselves up the pitch really well with just a couple of throw-ins. As Clark's waiting for a bit more movement. He finds Morsey, who's facing his own goal here and goes into the centre circle here with Burgess. He's got Davis to his left, 5 yards away, but he goes forward to Broadhead. He turns beautifully. Broadhead, 20 yards out. He's going to let it fly, but it's straight down the middle of the goal. One of the easiest saves Bachmann will probably make all night. Got to be aiming for the corners there, Broadhead. I think that's what he was attempting to do. He tried to bend it towards the right side of the goal, but I think it bent too far to the goalkeeper. And Bachmann will kick it out of his hands. He'll go long for Watford, where Edmondson heads it down. Morsey wins the seconds, and it's Ipswich back on the ball rather quickly inside their own half. Watford trying to go from back to front as quickly as possible. Do feel bad for Southampton. They were looking great and just kind of dropped out of the autos. Yeah, dropped out quite long ago. They were just never really there in the last month or so, are they? They've always just been 6 or so points off. Now they're 9 points off Leeds, who are in third at the moment. But the fact that Southampton and Ipswich or Leicester or Leeds will also be in the playoffs is ridiculous. As Broadhead shoots to the far corner, deflects off both posts, and Andrews clears for Watford. It deflects off Davis, but it'll be kept in by Broadhead. Huge opportunity from the edge of the box there for the winger. As it definitely came off the far post, it looked like it may have also took a nick off the other post as it went across goal. That's Ipswich. That's Ipswich's best chance of the game by far. As Watford survive here, as Ipswich is still on the ball on the near side. Clark being made to go backwards here to his goalkeeper, Haladki. What an opportunity that was for Broadhead, who is their joint leading scorer in the division this season, alongside Chaplin, who's on the bench tonight for Ipswich. Broadhead has 2 in his last 4. He scored in that dramatic win against Southampton and also in the 6-0 thumping of Sheffield Wednesday. Always got to go for the corners. You've always got to aim for the corners. Always. No point hitting it straight down the middle half the time. Easy saves. But Ipswich have definitely now had a big chance. They hadn't really had one until then. They've kept the ball quite well for the last 25 minutes, but nothing much has resulted in their possession as Hutchinson finds Jackson on the right, pulls it across here. Chance for Ipswich. Taylor's shot is blocked by his own player. It drops back to Taylor, who tries to feed the left back of Davis, who's got forward, but he can't quite find him. And Andrews, the Watford wing back, dribbles it out of play for a throw-in. Again, huge chance there for Taylor, the midfielder, but he hit his own man. He got in the way of his own shot there. As Jack Taylor's got 2 goals in the Championship this season. They came back-to-back in November against Rotherham and Swansea. This is just his 7th start, though, in the league for the midfielder. As the game has froze on me here, so I can't actually tell you what's going on. Let me just do the good old tactic of going on and off and on. Please don't tell me they've scored. That would kill me. Do apologise here. Just a slight little technical difficulty. Can't actually see the game at the moment. Ipswich are playing so well. So yeah, definitely. I mean, no goals. We're back. No goals were scored. I don't know what happened within the last 30 seconds, but we haven't had a goal. Still 0-0. It's a Watford throw midway inside their own half with Porteous. But yeah, Watford had a good start first 5 minutes. Dominated the possession. I think Ipswich just let them have it almost. Just settled themselves into the game. And then for the last half an hour, it's been pretty much all Ipswich. Watford have had the odd attack here and there. As it's in the midfield of Watford with Kayembe. Gets it away from Hutchinson, then goes back here to Pollock. He goes to his centre-back partner here of Hoot. It's now to this near side here to Lewis. Down the line through the legs of Clark to Chak for Tadger. As it's stopped again. Watford should be attacking down the left-hand side here. And again, it's froze on me, so I can't do much about it. Do apologise. This is what happens when you've got to stream the game. Stuff like this can happen. As long as there's no goals, we don't want to miss any goals. That is for sure. do apologise. Just bear with. Stumbled across this channel, some commentary. Thank you very much. Do appreciate that. Thanks to everyone who's here. Make sure you don't go away. I know the game's currently just gone off for me, but we'll get it back as soon as possible. I've just had a bit of technical difficulties. But it's definitely Ipswich dominating. They almost scored a few minutes ago. Nathan Broadhead hitting the post. Got very high, very high views, more than what we usually get, which we love to see. So thank you to everyone who's here. If you could subscribe as well, it does really help out the channel. I think it is still 0-0, thankfully. West Brom have gone 1-0 up against Rotherham in the other scores. Swansea still 1 up against Stoke. Middlesbrough still leading away at Hull. Bristol 2 up at home to Blackburn. And we're still 0-0 here at the minute. But it is good view. I just didn't think the Champions League games were very good. I was going to do Atletico Madrid Dortmund, but I just thought, no, that just doesn't interest me enough, unfortunately. So it looks like I've picked the right game here. Right, come on. Oh, God. Going on the wrong channel now. Sorry for that. There's nothing I can do. I don't know. There's nothing I can say to you other than we just need to wait just a minute. Something went wrong. You can say that again. Tad stuck. I'm very stuck at the minute. I think it's just the internet, unfortunately. Like I said, there's not really a lot I can do. Thankfully, it's nearly half time. I think that's a positive. We've got to take that as a positive. The fact it's it's nearly half time. Tell us a Stockport County story. God, what kind of story? I don't know what you want from me. A good. You know what? This is. I think you have to be there for this. I will tell it, and you probably won't find it funny at all. But if you were there, it was actually really funny. And this was a few weeks ago. So I was at a game, and we were drawing 0-0. It was a really bad game. I can't remember who we were playing. I can't remember. It was a bad game. 0-0. We were struggling. Couldn't break them down. And and the hospitality people were like, they were taking through, obviously, the food that hasn't been eaten or whatever. They were taking it to be thrown away or whatever. I'm not too sure, in all honesty. But anyway, so they were pushing this thing through, and then the this container, which we think was gravy, fell, and it fell everywhere. It went everywhere, and the game was that rubbish that the Stockport County fans started chanting about the gravy on the floor, and this young lad had to start mopping it, and he got absolutely crucified by the supporters with some of the chants they were saying. It was just they were really taking the mick out of him for having to mop up this absolute sea of gravy. And then we were all chanting, taking the mick out of him for all this gravy, and then we go and win a penalty, and no one saw it. We were given this penalty, and no one saw it was given, and then we all started celebrating. The guy who was mopping up the gravy started celebrating with his mop, and some of the chants. He was getting sacked in the morning, and yeah, it was just in football, when a game's that bad, anything can be like used as a distraction, and spill gravy on the floor. And the amount of chants, I can't remember the chants from the top of my head, but some of them were so funny. Just like, it was just ridiculous. You know, like Stockport County at the moment, we're in a title race, we're going for the title, and it was a big game. and we were 0-0. We needed the crowd in the game. We needed the crowd to spur on the players to get the ball in the net. But instead of doing that, we think, you know what? We're bored. The game's rubbish. Let's just chant about gravy instead. It just sums up Stockport County fans sometimes. I found it funny. You definitely had to be there because some of the chants were just ridiculous. Absolutely taking the mick. Gravy everywhere. Yeah, it was just, again, I feel like you had to be there, but you should have mopped the gravy. Well, if the money's right, I'll mop gravy as long as I get paid right. Other than that rubbish story that I've used to fill time in, and actually, if you search on TikTok, Stockport County and gravy, then you might find it, because I saw TikToks on it afterwards when I got home, which was quite funny. We're back though, into added time. Don't know how long's added on. We've got a Watford free kick, which has been put into the box here. It's a header away there by Burgess for Ipswich. It can't quite fall to Hutchinson as he loses out to Kayembe. It's now out to this near side here to Hoot, who relays it into Lewis, who's getting down the line, who can't quite keep it in into the final third. And it is a throw-in the defensive third here for Ipswich on this near side. A minute added on, is that what's been said? Because nothing's come up on the screen. I don't think there's been many stoppages. We've had Hutchinson down for a couple of minutes, but other than that, I don't think we've had a lot of stoppages. So we are about to hit the extra minute here as the throw-in goes down the line by Clark. Can't quite be held up by Hutchinson. Cleared forward by Lewis. Met by Taylor, who touches it out of play for a Watford throw-in. Bayo wanted the free kick, but it did look like the Ipswich midfielder got the ball. So it's going to be a Watford throw, midway side the Ipswich half on this near side. But Jamal Lewis to take it. I think Watford are just trying to get this result through to half-time. As Lewis throws it down the line, headed inside towards Bayo. Morsey with the second attempt, clears it forward. Moore will chase it for Ipswich, but it'll be dealt with by Hoot, who heads it back to his own goalkeeper. Good defending by the Dutchman. Brought in from Anderlecht in January of 2023. And it's now on the halfway line with Lewis. Forward to Bayo. Shrugs Edmondson away. And it's now with Pollock, the centre-half, on the halfway line as he tries to go down the line. It's where the referee will blow for half-time here at Portman Road. It's Ipswich 0, Watford 0. Watford started decently in the first 5 minutes, keeping the possession. But from around the 5th minute onwards, it was Ipswich who started to dominate, which you'd expect from them at Portman Road. They were struggling to make big, clear-cut opportunities, but one did arrive in around the 37th minute. A shot from the edge of the box by Nathan Broadhead. Deflected off the right side of the post, and it went along the goal. And away it went for Ipswich. It's the closest they've come. Watford haven't really tested Heladke in the Ipswich goal. So at half-time here at Portman Road, it is currently Ipswich 0, Watford 0. So half-time at the moment. So while we are at half-time, we'll have a turnover and we'll have a look at the PSG Barcelona game. We'll have a watch of that for 15 minutes. There's Michael Beale doing a bit of Sky Sports work. What a drop-off he's had. Obviously, was at Rangers, then was sacked from Rangers, then was brought in by Sunderland, and then was sacked from Sunderland, and now he's working on Sky Sports. What a fall from grace from Michael Beale. As it's 0-0 between PSG and Barcelona. We'll just have this game on in the background. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat if you want. I just know some people are going to put stupid questions. But if you want to, I'd stick around for half-time. We can have a chat. We can have a look at this Barcelona game. There's a chance here in the box. Shot towards goal and Barcelona lead. Rafinha with the goal. Formerly of Leeds United, who's in this promotion race with Ipswich. And he's gone from scoring at Ellen Road to scoring at the Parc de France and giving the lead. Rafinha with the goal. Barcelona lead away from home at PSG. What is this? I think I've just absolutely... What is their stadium name? I feel like... I know it's Parc de something. Parc de Prince. Parc de Prince. That's the Parc de France. Close. But yeah, ball out to the right. Yamal towards Lewandowski. It was touched away by Donnarumma. Straight to Rafinha. About 12 yards out. Shot towards an empty goal. And in it went. Really nice finish. Because there was a couple of PSG defenders on the line. One of them being Hernandez. And as we join the game, there's a goal. That's what we love to see. So 1-0 in that one. We'll go through the other games as well. So it's Bristol 2, Blackburn 0 at half-time, Birmingham, Cardiff 0-0 at half-time. Swansea and Stoke is Swansea 1-0 up with about 7 minutes to go half-time. That's the same for the whole game, which is 1-1 now. Hull drawing 1-1 at home to Middlesbrough. And West Brom still 1 up against Rotherham with 10 minutes to go until half-time. But thanks to everyone who's here. If you could please like and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. Make sure you check out tomorrow's stream by Leverkusen against West Ham. And then Sundays is Manchester United women taking on Chelsea women in the FA Cup semi-final. And then we're also covering Chelsea against Everton on the Monday night as well. So plenty of commentaries coming. It does massively help the channel out. We're almost there for monetization. We can almost start getting these streams monetized, which would be absolutely fantastic. So if we could try and reach that, we just need hours watched, and we're just over 100 hours left that needs to be watched to hit that. So that would be really appreciated. So if you do stick around for half time, it just adds those minutes up, and it does really help me out. But for Ipswich, we were talking about it before, but their next 3 games are so difficult. Middlesbrough at home, Hull away, and then Coventry away as well. All teams who are just outside the playoff positions, and they'll be scrapping for points. And then their last game of the season is at home to Huddersfield, who could also be fighting for their lives at the other end of the table, trying to avoid relegation. But for Watford, they've got some challenging games of their own, even though they don't really mean too much. Like I say, Watford can't get in the playoffs, and they can't be relegated. So they've got Southampton at the weekend away, which is always difficult, playing Russell Martin's Southampton side. Then they've also got to play Hull at home. And then they've got Sunderland as well at home at the end of the month. But they are in great form, Ipswich, even though they were beaten at the weekend to Norwich. They had won 9 of their previous 10 before the Norwich defeat. But unfortunately, they were beaten by their bitter rivals, having beaten Norwich now for 15 years, Ipswich. Goal just came before half-time, Nunez with it. Did have a lot of the ball, though. Ipswich had 63% of the possession, but weren't able to find the back of the net. And even though they've hit the post already tonight, they've got to be careful, because Watford are a difficult team to beat at the moment. They're doing pretty well in terms of not losing, at least, this Watford side. And to show how decent they've been away from home recently, Watford, no Championship team has lost fewer away games in the league since the start of December than Watford. They've won 6, they've drawn 4 and lost 2. You know, Watford are unbeaten in their last 5 away against the newly promoted teams, winning 1 but drawing 4. So, away from home, they're actually one of the best in the league at the moment in the last few months. So, I think, obviously, Ipswich will know this. I'm sure they'll be aware of, you know, the record that Watford have on their travels, and they've got to be careful. They can't think this is a given. Playing a team who've got not a lot to play for. They still want to win. I'm back now. I've got a scran. Oh, I'm jealous. I've not had any. No, I did. I didn't have a lot of it though. But what scran have we got? I don't know if what scran have we got? What scran have we got? But I'll obviously try and bring some more Championship commentaries for the end of the season, because obviously it's going to get interesting. Of course, we'll be covering the playoffs. I want to try and cover as much playoff action as possible. If that's Championship, League One, League Two, National League, I absolutely love the playoffs. If you've been in my streams before, I've spoke about this already, but I experienced playoffs for the first time last season with Stockport County. We got into the League Two playoffs, and we beat Salford on penalties in the semi-finals after 2 legs, and then we went to Wembley against Carlisle and lost on penalties. And it was my first ever trip to Wembley, and it ended in absolute heartbreak, losing on penalties. And the penalties were taken right in front of us. It was a killer. But as a neutral, and even as a supporter, the playoffs are just the best. So exciting. Anything can happen. It's like, for example, in League One last season, the Sheffield Wednesday turnaround, losing the first leg 4-0 away to Peterborough, then turning it around and winning the second leg on penalties after, I think, winning the game 5-1 after extra time. So we'll, once the league season's over in terms of the 46 games, loads more commentaries will continue to come. So make sure you do subscribe for that. Like I say, we'll be covering the playoffs, we'll be covering the Euros as well in the summer. We've got so much more to come still, which I'm really looking forward to. Weetabix. Jeez. Not very exciting. Mbappe's in behind it. Oh, shot as he entered the box there. Blocked by Kubasi. But the offside flag was up there on Kylian Mbappe. Yeah, went well early. Very offside there, Kylian Mbappe. His shot was still blocked, though, by Kubasi. 17 years of age, by the way. Absolutely ridiculous. He's an unbelievable centre-back. Watched him for the first time the other week as Barcelona beat Atletico Madrid away from home by 3-0. That was a really good performance by Barcelona. I think they could definitely reach the semi-finals. I'd probably fancy them to go through ahead of PSG if they can keep Mbappe quiet. As Hull have taken the lead now. Middlesbrough were 1-0 up, but Hull have turned the game around and they're 2-1 up before half-time. Swansea still 1 up against Stoke. West Brom is the same, 1-0 up against already relegated Rotherham. As of course, as soon as the Ipswich games get back underway, we'll turn straight back to that. But for Ipswich, which surprised me a little, but it didn't surprise me because they're quite open at home, Ipswich, because they like to attack. They've only kept 4 clean sheets at home in the league against Stoke, Hull, QPR and Sheffield Wednesday, so they've kept the other 9 away. As I say, it more surprises me with the fact they've kept so little clean sheets, but have only lost 1 at home this season in the league. But at home they score so many goals. We spoke about it before. They've scored 3 or more in 13 of their 20 home games already this season. So they obviously score a lot. That can sometimes mean they concede a lot, but they obviously just rely on outscoring their opponent, which has worked more often than not this season for Ipswich. In the other semi-final, I'm getting playoffs from me, playoff semi-final. The other quarter-final in the Champions League, Atletico Madrid are 2-0 up against Dortmund. Sancho on the ball at the moment, attacking down the left-hand side. He crosses it in, and it's just away from Adeyemi, who was coming in at the far post there. It'll be hard for Dortmund this because Atletico are ridiculous at home. That loss to Barcelona was their first loss at home in La Liga for well over a year. They've got a ridiculous home record, Atletico, so they do need to get themselves in the lead in this one. Use the home leg to their advantage because away from home will be a little bit tougher for them. They haven't been great away from home this season, Atletico Madrid, if my stats prove me right from what I can remember. So it looks like we could get an Atletico-Barca semi-final, which would be very interesting. Like I say, just a few weeks ago, Barcelona beat Atletico in their own backyard, and they're in here again. Rafinha on the byline, tight angle, no one's really up there. He goes across to Yamal, who tries to bend it to the far post, but that is nowhere near goal. And the youngster has not hit the target. But PSG look a little bit open. They really struggled at the weekend, PSG. I actually watched a bit of the game. They played bottom in the league, Clermont Foot. I know that is their team. They've got Foot in their name. I don't know either. Clermont Foot, and they only nicked a last-minute draw, and they had to bring on Mbappe. They were losing 1-0, then Mbappe came on and assisted Gonzalo Ramos. So they're not exactly in great form, PSG, and I just don't think they're a very good team. I don't think they've got a good enough. I just don't think they've got a very good team. They've got Mbappe, but I don't think Asensio's brilliant. Dembele's very injury prone. I've not seen enough of that Vitinha yet. That Skriniar looked awful at the back for them at the weekend. He looked really poor. So definitely things for PSG to try and improve on if possible. we will turn this over now. We'll go back to the Ipswich game. We don't want to miss anything. As it is half-time in that PSG-Barcelona game. They're 1-up. Goal from Rafinha, which we saw 10 minutes ago. As Ipswich will surely know. They will know that a win would take them to the top. And if they were to win the league, that would be so impressive. To have to compete with the likes of Leicester, who brought in so many players, spent so much money, Leeds the same, Southampton the same, and to possibly take two of those teams into the playoffs and get themselves promoted, that is something to be seriously, admired. Because Kieran McKenna has done an unbelievable job since he took charge at Ipswich. He took charge back in December 2021. He's lost 20 games out of these 126 he's been in charge of. Just a ridiculous record. I think this is my favourite stat because it just sounds incredible. From his games in the Championship and his games in League One as head coach of Ipswich, they have taken 282 points from a possible 330. That's ridiculous. That is just incredible. That's 48 points that he's dropped in 110 games. That is that. I mean, I know as a commentator I need to have words, but that almost makes you speechless. That's how impressive his record is at this club, and it'll be so interesting to see how they do in the Premier League if they get there. Of course, I don't want to preempt anything or jinx anything for Ipswich supporters, but if they were to get there and they get the recruitment right, who can't say they wouldn't survive? They've shocked the Championship. There's no reason why they can't go up to the Premier League and stun that division as well. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Premier League football would still be another 5 months or so away, 4 months away for Ipswich, as we're just waiting for the second half here at Portman Road. Ipswich have been the much better side, but Watford have done okay themselves. The stats will obviously say that Ipswich have dominated, which they have, but Watford have been pretty calm under the pressure they've been put under by Ipswich, who have been able to get plenty of shots away, hitting the post towards the end of the half. But Ipswich have won the last 3 meetings between these two, which is funny because Ipswich obviously have won 3 in a row against Watford, but they only managed to win 1 of the previous 18 before that, drawing 4 and losing 13. So it wasn't a fixture they usually liked, Ipswich, but obviously now 3 in a row. But before that, it was 1 win in 18 against Watford. How times have changed, for sure. And at the moment, Ipswich are 18 unbeaten in the Championship. And if they are unbeaten again tonight, it would match their best run in the Football League, which is 19 games unbeaten, back from March 2007 through to January 2008, so they could equal an unbeaten run in the club's history. As both sides are back out here, it'll be Ipswich kicking right to left, it'll be Watford left to right. I believe it will be Ipswich with Kickoff, but I can't quite remember. My memory's not that great. I'm sure Watford started the first half. Yeah, it will be Ipswich to get us underway. Is it? You know what? I'm going to stop guessing. I'm just going to wait and find out because I actually have no idea whose Kickoff it is. I think it's Watford's. Is it? No, Watford player walking away from it. I don't think anyone knows whose Kickoff it is. So it is Watford's Kickoff. As we're going to get this second half underway, will we find a winner? Ipswich have been known for their late winners this season. They will have to be patient because this won't be an easy Watford side to break through. That's for sure. As we're waiting for the referee's whistle of Sam Barrett. As he blows the whistle, Espria for Watford goes back here to Porteous. He's going to send this long, high, up towards the edge of the 18-yard box. It's volleyed away by Edmondson to the halfway line where Moore heads it towards his own goal here to Morsey, who volleys it out of play for a Watford throw just inside the Ipswich half here on the far side. Jamal Lewis with it. Bit of a miscued clearance there by Morsey, which has sent the ball out of play. Lewis with the throw-in, waiting for the right option. Throws it to Bayo. Chests it down and plays it backwards to Deli Bashiru, who runs into the traffic of Kiefer Moore, but then wins it back really well. It's now to Espria, who's got options left and right. Espria from the edge of the box. He wanted to shoot, but he can't quite catch it. Cleared in the end by Jackson. Not a great clearance. Straight back to Watford here with Pollock. Finding Kayembe. Back to Pollock at right centre-half. 10 yards inside the Ipswich half. Goes forward here to Bayo. Holding the ball up away from Burgess and finding Pollock again. He goes backwards here to Hoot. And he goes across to the left here to Porteous. It's now into the centre circle with Deli Bashiru. Keeps it moving here to Porteous as he's being closed down there by Hutchinson. Chak Fatadja. Lewis is making a run forward down the left. He doesn't use him. He'll switch out to the right instead. Brilliant ball. Controlled well by Andrews on the edge of the area. Looking to get the cross in the box. Instead lays it off to Espria, who's just behind him. It's now Deli Bashiru. Goes to the right here to Pollock. And gets the ball returned to him. Turns away from Moore. It's now to the far side here to Porteous. Furthest left is Lewis. Midway inside the Ipswich half. Finds Chak Fatadja. Gets away from Hutchinson. Finds Lewis again in the final third. Onto his right foot. Wants the 1-2 and he tries to find him on the return there, Chak Fatadja. But he overhits the pass and out of play for a goal kick. Really positive that from Watford, but it resulted in nothing in the end. You know, they had a good start to the first half and that quickly faded and they were defending for the majority of the first 45. As Ipswich go along up to the halfway line here where Moore's been pulled to the ground, but the referee doesn't see it as a foul. In fairness, Kiefer Moore isn't really complaining. Watford can bring it forward. Chak Fatadja on that left-hand side, laying it off for Porteous, who plays it into Lewis, and Porteous bombs forward. He goes to Chak Fatadja instead, who's tackled by Morsey, who kicks it into his own box here, where it'll be dealt with by Clark. Goes back to the goalkeeper of Haladki. Sends it down the Ipswich right, looking towards Moore, who can't quite win the header there on Pollock. And it's now back with Watford, midway side their own half here, with the captain, Wesley Hoot. Signed for £15 million by Southampton back in 2017. And in 2023, he was signed for just £1.8 million, so his value had certainly gone down slightly. As Ipswich attack down the left, Davis played through, low ball across the box. Small doesn't have the pace to get there. Collected by Bachmann. Bit of space found in behind there by Ipswich down the left flank, and if you want one person crossing it, it's certainly Leif Davis. You definitely do your research. Well, I definitely try, that's for sure. I'm going to get this timer started now, because I keep forgetting. We are just over 3 minutes into this second half. Watford have been the team on the ball. Like I say, this was the same pattern that we had at the beginning of the first half. It's out to the far side here. Lewis, down the line for Chak Fatadja. Finds him as he nutmegs Clark. Run's being made forward. Espria's making the more advanced run. He finds him on the edge of the box. Espria across towards Bayo. It deflects off him to Kayembe, who spins and shoots from afar. It's blocked by Burgess and headed away by Leif Davis. But all as far as Pollock for Watford. Kept in here on the near side by Andrews. Back it goes to Pollock. Espria in the right wing position on his left foot. He's going to go for a switch ball out to the left, and it'll find Lewis, who controls it well. Really good start to the second half here by Watford, who have got Ipswich pen back. Deli Bashiru, midway side, the Ipswich half. He goes out to the right centre half here of Pollock. Then down the line here for Andrews. Back into Pollock. Inside to Kayembe. Keeps it away from Taylor. Goes into the centre circle here to Hoot. Then out to the left to Porteous. On once more here to Lewis. Back into Porteous again. It's now on the halfway line with Hoot. Being closed down by Moore. He plays it forward to Deli Bashiru, who's bringing it forward. He plays out to the right, but it's a short ball cut out there by Davis, who's got Kayembe following him, and he gets a shove in the back, and that's a free kick for Ipswich on halfway. Taken quickly by Davis here into Jack Taylor. He's now back into the back four here with Cameron Burgess, the number 15. It's now with the right back Clark on the halfway line. Watford sit off at the moment. This is with Clark. who's looking for the advanced pass, but he has to keep it simple and goes into Edmondson. It's now to Burgess, his centre-back partner, on this near side. Forward it goes to Taylor. Back to Burgess as he was being shut down there by Kayembe. Burgess across to Edmondson, Manchester-born. Centre-back. Now it's Ipswich, who have got the turn now to turn the tables into their favour after Watford again dominating the first 5 minutes of the half. As Kiefer Moore can't quite turn away from Hoot. Lost though by Kayembe, but then given away by Broadhead, passing it backwards. Espria gets there ahead of Edmondson. It's slipped through to Bayo, who's in the box. Burgess following him. He's got his back to goal now, Bayo. Forced outside the 18-yard box, but plays it across to Espria, who can get away from Morsey. He lets fly where it's blocked by Clark, who then plays it forward to Hutchinson. Counter-attack on here for Ipswich. Hutchinson down the right-hand side into the Watford half, taking on Porteous. Hutchinson with the ball into the final third, onto his left foot. Hutchinson will play it to the left here to Davis. It's slightly overhit, but he will keep it in, sliding to stop it going out of play, and then crossing the ball to the far post, where it's caught comfortably there by Bachmann. He quickly rolls it out here to Chak Fataja. On the Watford left, Lewis bombing forward from wing-back. He finds him just inside the Ipswich half on the far side, and he slows the game down as he brings it into the midfield to Deli Bashiru. And it's now with Kayembe. Decent counter-attack there from Ipswich as Watford almost tested the goalkeeper of Haladki if it wasn't for the block of Clark on the edge of the 18-yard area. It's on the far side. Lewis finding Deli Bashiru. Watford certainly still in this game as a Spria, heavy touch, loses out, gives it straight to Taylor. It's now Nathan Broadhead in the left wing position for Ipswich. He'll drive forward with the ball into the 18-yard box. He puts the cross in towards the far post where Bachmann was just able to keep out of his own goal there. Almost fell off balance and into his own net there, the Austrian goalkeeper. His Broadhead went for a cross, couldn't quite direct it towards Kiefer Moore in the end. As Watford play out from the back with their right centre-half here of Pollock. Forward it goes towards Kayembe. Goes over the challenge there of Taylor. Seems a bit soft to me. Looks like he was looking for that foul. Edo Kayembe. He's making his 6th start in a row. Suffered with calf injuries the last 2 seasons where he's missed a bit of game time, but he's clearly fit and ready to play in this last month or so with the consecutive starts. As Hoot sends it to the right centre-half here of Pollock on the halfway line. Down the line it goes here to Andrews. Forward, but no one is there. Absolutely no one in a yellow and black shirt. And it goes to Cameron Burgess for Ipswich, as they just need to try and pick it up in this second half. Ipswich, they haven't really done much so far. A couple of times they've been able to get crosses in, but they've gone straight to the goalkeeper of Dan Bachmann. Still with Burgess on this near side. He's going to go long, he's going to go high. Looking for Davis, header won by Hoot towards the centre circle where it's controlled by Hutchinson. Keeps it away from Deli Bashiru, the former Manchester City Academy player. It's now out to the right through Taylor to Clark. Finds Jackson. Back to Clark on the halfway line. Got time on the ball here. And he finds Edmondson. Squares it to his left there to Burgess. On the halfway line, he goes forward to Taylor. Returns it to Burgess. He goes forward himself here to Broadhead. Then down the left, can't find the run of Hutchinson. Collected here for Ryan Andrews, who clips it down the Watford right. Headed away by Burgess. Drops to Kayembe. Finds Bayo on the right-hand side. He plays a pass towards a teammate, but it's cut out by Hutchinson. Finds Moore. Lays it off for Morsey. 25 yards out. He goes for a long-range strike, but it's always dragging itself wide of the post. It's a goal kick for Watford. Got away with that, though, for Kuhn Bayo, the striker, in the right-wing position, playing a blind pass into the centre of the park, where it is one back for Ipswich for Omari Hutchinson. But the eventual shot from Sam Morsey couldn't quite materialise into a goal. It's Watford play out from the back, down the near side here with Kayembe. Lets the ball run hard play. I don't think he meant it, but he couldn't quite keep it in there, Kayembe. Pretty poor from the central midfielder. And it's a free throw-in for Ipswich. As they go to the halfway line here with Davis finding Edmondson. Space on the far side here for Clark. He gets the ball played into his space. And he latches onto the ball. He brings it forward into the final third. Thought about the cross, but instead lays it off to Morsey. It's now with Edmondson on the edge of the centre circle here. Finds Morsey again. Out to the far side to Clark. Jackson back to Clark. Really good defensive play here from Watford. Staying compact, keeping shape well. Making this opening 10 minutes of the second half rather frustrating for the home side. Morsey. Diagonal ball out to the left, looking for more in the area, just overhit. Couldn't bring it down. It's not a bad idea, though, from Morsey. Moore was never going to reach it, but it wasn't too far away. The idea was there. But for Ipswich, they have only lost 2 home games in the last 2 league seasons. They only lost 1 last season at home, and that was to Lincoln in October. And they've lost to Leeds this season in the August. So they've been so good here, usually. They have lost this season against Maidstone in the FA Cup, you might remember. That 2-1 defeat to the National League South side. As Watford play the ball out to the left-back position here with Jamal Lewis on loan from Newcastle. It's now with Deli Bashiru bringing it forward. Pulled down there by Kiefer Moore. Now be a booking for the Welshman on halfway. He was able to get in front of him there, Deli Bashiru. But as he got in front of Moore, that's when the challenge and the foul came in. The longer this game goes on and the longer it goes without a goal, the more confidence Watford will have in this game. They haven't done a lot going forward themselves, but they've kept Ipswich rather quieter than what they usually are at home in terms of their chance making. As it's a Watford throw in here on the near side, midway side the Ipswich half here with Ryan Andrews, the Watford-born defender. Waiting for the right option here from the throw. Throws it into Bayo. 1-2 with Bayo, who kicks it off Taylor. Deflects to Kayembe. Forward to Bayo. Works out wide to Andrews, who's into the final third here. Being followed by Broadhead. Andrews running towards the corner flag here. Almost running out of room and eventually running out of play for a goal kick. It's the right idea. Try to get himself down the line there, Ryan Andrews, but just run out of room. Seen out of play there by Leif Davis in the end. It's now on the edge of the 18-yard box. Edmondson. Diagonal ball out. Looking for more. Headed down by Hoot, the Watford captain, but always finds Broadhead. He helps it forward here to Hutchinson. Can't quite keep the ball away from Deli Bashiru, who goes down the right-hand side here to Andrews. It's now Kayembe into the right centre half here of Pollock. Well kept there for Watford. We're just over half an hour to play. It's all square at 0-0 so far. Deli Bashiru in the 18-yard box, skipping away from Hutchinson. It's risky, but it looks so good. And Kayembe spreads it out to the left-hand side here to Lewis, just inside the Ipswich half. Back inside here to Kayembe, who's allowed to turn. Loads of room in the Ipswich half for him. He works it eventually out to the right-hand side here to Espria. In the central area, playing it along the left side to Lewis. Chips it into the box to the far side. He'll find Andrews. Heads it inside to Bayo in the 18-yard box. Goes to the edge of the area to Espria, who from afar is going to strike it. Spilled by the goalkeeper and cleared by Edmondson ahead of Lewis. Watford fans liking what they're seeing. In the far corner there. Espria, who's already scored in this fixture. Last time out. Just forcing a save from Haladki. He's not had to make many saves. I think that's their first shot on target. And you could tell he was a little bit rusty with the gloves there. Spilling the shot. And eventually, it's back in the goalkeeper's hands for Haladki. Will you be doing Ipswich match on Saturday? No, I won't, unfortunately. Sorry, I don't know when I'm doing Ipswich next. I'll try and cover one of their games coming up. I'll just try and do a mix. I'll just try and do a variety of games. That's a better word. Yeah, just different variety, but I will try and do an Ipswich game in the future very soon. Obviously, if I could try and do the game where they guarantee promotion or the title, that'd be pretty cool. As Clark Sends the ball down the Ipswich right here into the final third. Jackson loses out to Lewis, who can play it into Porteous in the 18-yard box. He plays a low ball forward. It's a brilliant pass. Finds Kayembe in a bit of space. He can burst beyond Taylor and plays it down the left side here to Lewis. On once more to Chakfatadja. Inside to Kayembe. Keeps it away from Jackson. And it's now to the Watford right here to Pollock. You can bring it forward. Goes inside to Esprit, who wants to switch it. Oh, it's a beautiful ball. Perfect. Chakfatadja on the ball. Finding the runner Lewis, whose cross comes off Clark, and it'll go for a throw-in right next to that corner flag on the far side. I think they would have rather have wanted a corner, but a throw-in will have to do. If you are new, if you could like and subscribe, that would be absolutely fantastic, and it massively helps the channel out. And talking of throw-ins, I don't know if anyone else saw it online or were watching the game, but did anyone see that Republic of Ireland, the women's player, with that throw-in last night against England? Genuinely, it's one of the biggest. I think it's the biggest throw I've ever seen. And you know, a lot of us have seen Rory Delap throw the ball. We know how far he can throw it. Genuinely, I think she throws it longer than him. If you've not seen it, you've got to. It'll be on Twitter somewhere or online. The throw-in was absolutely huge, and from the throw-in, Watford have been forced back to the 18-yard box, their own 18-yard box, where Dele Bashiri's pass just about reached Pollock, almost cut out by the head of Broadhead. So Bachmann in the 6-yard box here for Watford. He's going to go long. He's going to go central. Bayo chests it down, finds Kayembe, then works it to the left here to Chakfatadja. Nice touch in front of him. And he's got Lewis ahead of him. Lewis on the ball. Final third. First time cross. Low one cut out by Edmondson. Kicks out a play for a corner. So they'll eventually get their set piece in the end here. Watford, who for me have been the better team in the second half. They showed glimpses of this in the first half, but they didn't really do it on a consistent basis. It was kind of in moments throughout the first half. But it'll be an in-swinger here from their number 16. Of Chak Fatadja, the Georgia international attacker. Low one into the near post. Free header there for Hutchinson for Ipswich. As it's going back forward here for Watford. Esprit back to where it originally came from through Chakfatadja, who will put the shot in, and he gets right underneath it and over the crossbar, just on the edge of the area towards the corner of the box on the left-hand side. He's gone for glory. And it was a pretty poor attempt in the end there by Chakfatadja, who was in the Georgia squad in the recent international break as they qualified for the Euros against Greece on penalties. There's less than half an hour to go. Kieran McKenna's making his changes. Jack Taylor replaced by Massimo Luongo. The other change, we'll see Caden Jackson. Is that Caden Jackson's Keith and what? I don't know. I can't see who that is, in all honesty. So, it's Luongo, Connor Chaplin, and Jeremy Sarmiento on. Jack Taylor definitely came off there. I'm not quite sure who the others were. So it is a triple change for Ipswich, who are still all level at 0-0 here. They go long through their goalkeeper of Haladki, up towards Moore. Heads it out to the right, where it reaches Porteous for Watford. Flicks over his head, but headed into the air by Luongo. As he reaches Sarmiento. Drops for Chaplin. Ball forward, can't find Moore, who trips Pollock from behind. And that'll be a free kick for the away team. As the substitutes has seen Jack Taylor come off, Caden Jackson's come off, and so has Nathan Broadhead. So it's them three off for Luongo, Chaplin and Sarmiento. So they're changing it up. Ipswich is Watford. Big ball out to the left-hand side. Header away there by Clark. Nodded down though for Watford by Porteous, and it eventually finds Chakfatadja in a central area. Plays it out to the right. Brilliant ball. Esprit running the Ipswich defence. Can't feed it through for Andrews. Comes off Davis, who gets a slide challenge in, but kicks it only as far as Kayembe. Still alive here for Watford. Back to Dele Bashiru. Then out to the right again to Esprit, who's been a real problem for Ipswich tonight. Just seems dangerous whenever he gets the ball. Head to the area. Kayembe. Across it goes to Chakfatadja. Keeps it away from Morsey. Can't get away from Chaplin. Kicks it to Davis, who volleys away for Ipswich in the end. Put back forward by Porteous with the header. Out wide it goes to Lewis on the left, who has to go back himself here to Porteous. Then inside to the midfield to Kayembe. Dele Bashiru back into the centre circle here to Hoot. Quickly moving it onto the right centre half here of Pollock. Furthest right here's Asprilla. He's got Andrews down the line. Asprilla still has it. Finds Andrews. Got everything to his left. He goes back to Asprilla. Now with Pollock. All Ipswich players behind the ball. There's Asprilla over the top into the box. It's just overhit. Couldn't quite find Jack Fatadja. And it's Ipswich on the ball again with their goalkeeper of Haladki. As they roll it out to the right back here of Harry Clark. Just not quite got going in the second half, Ipswich. Lacking chances is Edmondson. Brilliant ball out to the right wing to Hutchinson, who's tripped down by Porteous. That'll be a booking surely for the Scotsman, because Hutchinson was away down the right-hand side. Yeah, it's going to be a booking for Watford's number 5. There's Amari Hutchinson now. Hutchinson's been moved out to the right wing. Chaplin down the middle. And Sarmiento on the left. So it's out to the right-hand side here, this free kick. About 40 yards from goal. So it's quite the way away, but it's a good angle for a cross hit. And it looks like it will be delivered in by the captain of Sam Morsey. And it'll be the Egyptian to clip it into the box towards Edmondson. Strong header won there for Watford by Pollock. Dropped to the left wing position here for Burgess for Ipswich, who was up for the free kick. It's now into Hutchinson in the box. Onto his right foot. Hutchinson shoots. It's a good block again by Pollock. And Morsey recycles it into the box. It's another header away there by Pollock. And Davis runs out of play on the near side. Throwing for Watford in their right back area. But 3 key defensive plays there from Matty Pollock. 22-year-old centre-half. The word Jackson gives me flashbacks. Well, he's not on the pitch anymore, so I won't say his name again. As a throw-in goes down the line, controlled by Bayo. Switches it out to the left here towards Jamal Lewis, who will chase it down. Clark wants it, though, and Clark will get it. Touches it in front of him, but it'll be Lewis to get there first. And it's into the Watford 18-yard box of Porteous. Forward to Kayembe. Gets away from one challenger, Luongo, but not away from Sarmiento. And Ipswich can try and attack quickly. Morsey out to the right-hand side here. Hutchinson running at the defence, in the box. Right-footed ball, flicked away by Dele Bashiru. Drops to Morsey, clips it into the box, where it's a header away from Andrews. Back to Morsey, who heads it out wide left it. He's looking for Davis, who will get there, and he goes all the way back to Haladki, as the ball was being chased down there by Asprilla. So it's back in the Ipswich half as they're running out of time. Got less than the quarter of the game to go. And we're still goalless. As the ball forward to Moore, it just can't quite reach him. Just too far in front of him. He stretched for it, but couldn't keep it under control. In the last 13 years of this fixture, we've had 1 draw. Just 1 draw in the last 12. We're drawing at the moment. Cambe on halfway. Losing it out. Losing the ball there. Davis intercepts. It's now in the centre of the park here with Luongo. Goes out to the far side here to Hutchinson. Clark's overlapping rapidly. Hutchinson doesn't use him yet. Hutchinson eventually finds Clark in the final third. Everything to his left. Finds Hutchinson. Back to Clark. Hutchinson again. One-on-one with Lewis. Isolates the wing-back. Takes it towards the byline. Crosses it in and it deflects into the air and into the hands of Bachmann in the 6-yard box. Another chance goes away for Ipswich. As Watford are trying to make it 5 unbeaten under Tom Cleverley. As they go long here, Watford up towards Bayo. Can't quite touch it down in the centre circle. It goes beyond him and Edmondson. And with 20 minutes to go, Ipswich have it in their own half. On the far side, brought forward by Clark. Goes down the line to Hutchinson, who's been tackled there by Lewis. A bit too strong in the challenge there, the Northern Irish wing-back. And it'll be a free kick just inside the Watford half for Ipswich on the far side. As we are going to get a change here. We're going to get 2 changes, 1 each. 1 for Ipswich and 1 for Watford. So the first change for Watford, we'll see Chak Fatadja replaced by number 11 of Ishmael Kone, the Canadian central midfielder, just 21 years of age. Started just 2 of the last 6 now. Kone. And the Ipswich change, we'll see Kiefer Moore replaced. Kiefer Moore, goalless now in his last 5, will be replaced by Ali Al-Hamadi, the Iraq international, brought in for just over £1 million in January from League 2 Wimbledon, where he had scored 13 in 23 League 2 appearances this season. And for Ipswich, since joining in January, he's got 4 goals, all in the Championship, including a brace at home against Sheffield Wednesday in the 6-0 win back in mid-March. So a change up front for Ipswich, as they've got less than 20 minutes of the 90 to play. We're on the near side here. Luongo lifting it in behind for Davis, who will give chase to the ball, but it's overhit. And a goal kick it is for Watford. Watford have drawn their last 3, and you can see why. It does seem like they struggle to create clear chances, but they are solid at the back with that, what can be a back 5. You know, it can be a back 3 or a back 5, depending on how high the wing backs are. So that just seems the issue to me for Watford. If they just had a bit more creativity, a bit more spark, maybe a bit more flair up in the final third, the goals could come. But they've definitely been the better side for me second half. I don't know if I'm watching a different game to anyone else, but just don't think Ipswich have really got into it as they were in the first half. It seemed like the half-time break just came at the wrong time for the Tractor Boys. It's Watford on the ball on the halfway line, with Kone getting his first few touches of the ball off the bench. Watford's first change of the game. It's now down the right-hand side on the halfway line. Asprilla going back towards his own goal, playing it inside to Deli Bashiru. It's now with Hoot quickly curling it out to the left here to Lewis. Brilliant ball. Then down the line here for Kone. Back to Lewis, or he tries to get it back to Lewis, but it comes off Clark, the Ipswich right back. So it'll be a Watford throwing on halfway on that far side. As their last league position finish for Watford that was as low as this was back in the 2013-2014 season. So 10 seasons ago, they finished 13th in the Championship. They started tonight 14th. They don't want to go any lower than 13th. Don't want to start breaking unwanted records. As it's Ipswich free kick on this near side, taken quickly by Davis there. Sarmiento just pulled back by Pollock. Thanks to everyone who's here, over 30 people. Make sure you please like and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds and it really helps grow the channel out. Really need that final push to try and get some monetization on the channel. It's down the right hand side. Can't say his name. Wow. Can't say his name. Clark played the ball down the right hand side there to Al-Hamadi. Wow, that was more difficult than it should have been. And he put the ball across the box, but just no one was there for Ipswich. Wow, I struggled too much with that name. But we are really running out of time, and I don't want a 0-0. I want a goal from someone. I'm not too bothered who. As Ipswich attack down the far side here with Clark, laying it off to Hutchinson. It's now back with Edmondson. He's dribbling it away from Bayo. He's caught on his toes there, but it's seen as a foul. Very lucky there, Edmondson. Because if that wasn't seen as a foul, Watford were away 2-on-1. Asprilla and Bayo running at Burgess. But I think he did just catch Ipswich's number 4. You see Ipswich have lost their fire a bit in the second half. Yeah, 100%. They just don't seem... They're not created a lot. I don't think they created anything worth talking about, really. It's been pretty disappointing in the second half. But Ipswich, you've got to give Ipswich their credit. Been a huge Watford fan for years, and I really believe Tom could do great things as manager. Honestly, he's got them set up and he's got them playing really nice football, really solid at the back, pretty fluid up front. I think there's missing just some extra quality up front, which would make it work even better, turning these draws into wins. But I can definitely see what he's about, Tom Cleverley, as a manager. I like it a lot. Solid at the back, but allows the freedom up front. As Ipswich down the left, Sarmiento, heavy touch cleared by Andrews. And it takes a nick off the Ipswich player as it's cleared. And it's a Watford throw-in. Be taken by Pollock towards the halfway line here. And he eventually throws it down the line towards Bayo, headed forward by Luongo, volleyed forward by Kayembe. Bayo will chase it. Edmondson panics and he heads out to play for a corner. Hladky was coming out for it and he would have got there, but clearly Edmondson didn't hear his shout, so he just headed it behind for a corner. And a chance from a set piece for the Hornets. You have to remember he played with a lot of these players last year to give him one. Yeah, that's definitely true. He'll definitely know what strength each player has. Maybe he's accommodating to the players he's got with his system, possibly. And like I say, he did play with a lot of them last season. Only retired at the end of last season, Tom Cleverley. As they go short from the corner, it finds Kone on this near side, who tries to take on Chaplin, and he does just that. Kone in the box, he goes down, and he's not got the penalty. Chaplin had to be careful because it looked like Kone had beaten him, and he put a challenge in. Obviously not enough contact for a penalty, and Kone run out of space, and out for a goal kick it's gone. And they take it quickly. It's back with Hladky in the 6-yard box. Less than 15 minutes to play here of the 90. It's gone to his right to Edmondson, who will go long and high down the Ipswich right, where it's the header won by Porteous for Watford. Heavy touch though by Kone, gives it away, but he wins it back off Sarmiento in the centre circle. Well won back there. It's now with Watford on the ball, near side. Andrews goes to his left here to Kone, the substitute. It's now back with Hoot forward. Nice ball to Bayo. Just loses out to Edmondson. But Luongo's ball out to the Ipswich left is cut out by Andrews. Couldn't quite find Davis. He's now back with the away team here on the halfway line with Pollock. Forward here to Espria, who's just drifted into a more central area. Then plays out to the left here as he looks for Lewis. Finds him in the area. Lewis, across goal, it's parried out. Kone, edge of the area. He strikes it as well. Big block from Morsey. Still with Kone, who can work it towards Lewis. Short pass cleared by Clark. Al-Hamadi will now chase it for Ipswich down the right-hand side. He's chasing it down with Hoots. He gets a grab of the shirt, and that'll be a free kick that goes Watford's way. Soon as he pulled the shirt, you know, Al-Hamadi was going to be penalised there with a free kick to go against him. Big chance that from Lewis, the wing-back who entered the area and had the shot across goal. Again, Hladky's not really kept hold of much. As we're going to get another Ipswich change, it's going to be at the back. George Edmondson, who's only making his second appearance in the last 12 championship games. Seems like he's hobbling off a little bit. May have picked up a slight little knock. He will be replaced here by Luke Wolfenden, Ipswich born. Joined in 2009. And Wolfenden had started the last 18 championship games in a row since Boxing Day, but was dropped to the bench tonight after the defeat to Norwich at the weekend. One thing that does bother me is that we don't play Rajovic. He is Watford's top scorer, 100%. I was wondering that when I was doing my research. Looking at Milita Rajovic, who came in the summer for just around £1 million from Sweden, Kalmar. And like I say, he's their leading scorer at the moment, Rajovic, with 10 in the Championship. Just one of these last 9, and he's not started any of the last 8. But I'm surprised. I think he would really work in this system as a bit of a vocal point, but I'm not going to question Tom Cleverley because he's not lost yet in interim charge. We're back underway here. 11 minutes to go. We're still searching for the first goal. I hope you are all enjoying this, liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Hopefully we get a late dramatic goal. That's what we're hoping for now. As it's thrown for Ipswich with Clark on the far side. Finds Hutchinson. Shields the ball away from Lewis. Finds Clark again, who kicks it off Lewis. And that'll be a throw-in for Ipswich. Bit of shoving and pushing there between Lewis and Clark, and it's all been dealt with. Simmers down. And the referee wants a word with both of them, which just kills the momentum here for Ipswich. It's not what they want. And after the talking to, we eventually get back underway here, as it's a throw for Ipswich in the final third. Clark throws it into the box, headed away from Deli Bashiru, straight back out for another throw-in. Need to stay alert here, Watford. They can't lose their concentration now after such a solid 80 minutes that have kept them in this game at 0-0. In one of the toughest places to go to in the Championship. It's going to be a long throw-in this time from Harry Clark. Plenty of bodies in there for Ipswich. The throw-in goes in. Header away from Hoot. Helped on by Espria. Drops to Wolfenden for Ipswich, who lifts it into the box. It's a high one. Header won by Porteous. Headed forward by Clark. Headed into the box now by Burgess. Can't find Al-Hamadi. And eventually the second one does. Chaplin goes down over the challenge. I think it was more of a slip. Loses out. Put back forward by Burgess to Sarmiento. Hutchinson takes over. Out to the right side to Clark. Good cross in to the far post. Davis nods it down for Chaplin, but it's kicked away from him by Kayembe. And it's an Ipswich throwing on the near side. They're starting to grow a bit more in the second half. It's only took them 35 minutes, but they're getting there, Ipswich. Long throwing into the box, into the corner of the box to Al-Hamadi, who loses out there to Hoot. Cleared away there for Watford up towards Bayo. Can't quite get there ahead of Wolfenden, who goes back to his goalkeeper of Haladki. Gets the ball out of his feet, goes to the left of Burgess, whose clearance is a bit scuffed. Into the air it goes. It bounces towards Kayembe, who tackles Luongo strongly. And the ball goes back into the Watford half here with their goalkeeper of Backman. Clears it first time from Porteous. It's a long ball forward here. Bayo's chasing it, put to the ground there by Wolfenden. Nice pass forward to Morsey. And Ipswich can build from their own half here with Wolfenden. To the left centre half now to Burgess, who can bring the ball forward here. High ball down the left channel. Chested down by Davis. Dealt with by Andrews, but the clearance is straight to Luongo, who goes inside here to Chaplin. Forward to Al-Hamadi. Gets it back to Chaplin, who enters the box, but it's cleared away from him by Andrews, and he kicks it straight along the 18-yard box and out for a corner on the far side. A very scuffed clearance there by Andrews, who sliced that one behind for a corner. And it'll be taken with a left-footed in-swinger here by Leif Davis. And if they need their number 3 to provide an assist, they need it now. All the usual suspects in the box for Ipswich as they're running out of time here. Cross goes in. Free header away there by Bayo. It'll come out to Clark, though, who's furthest back for Ipswich. Out to the right, it goes here to Hutchinson. He's going to run at Kone. Hutchinson on his left foot. Going on to his right and finding Davis. He's going to cross it. It deflects to the edge of the box where it's volleyed by Kayembe. Straight to Clark, though, who can recycle it into the box here. He's going to aim it towards Wolfenden. Loses out to Pollock. Or as far as Sarmiento, who heads it into Chaplin. 25 yards from goal in the central area. He's getting his ankles bit at by Kayembe, but he keeps the ball away from the Watford number 39. It's now with Clark, the right back, on the angle. Goes down the line here for Davis, who remains in the right wing position. Finds Hutchinson, who's fouled on the edge of the box. A late one there by Deli Bashiru. And on the right-hand side, the angle's a little bit too wide for a shot, but it's brilliant for a cross. And this is a big opportunity here for Ipswich, who are losing the opportunity to go top of the league once again. It'll be Morsey to take it. Backman setting up his wall here, as he doesn't want to be caught out at the near post with a shot. A shot is possible, but I doubt Morsey will go for that. I think the cross is the more likely option for the captain, as he will deliver the cross into the box. Header won there by Porteous. Volleyed there by Luongo. Well blocked. Still not dealt with here by Watford. Another shot goes forward. It deflects and cleared away by Andrews eventually. Just couldn't get it through. The sheer amount of bodies there in the 18-yard box. Haladki sends it back forward for Ipswich towards the edge of the box. Headed away by Hoot. Headed back forward by Wolfenden. Another header there by Hoot. Headed forward by Morsey. Controlled in the end there and cleared by Deli Bashiru. Looking for Espria on the right wing, who can get around Davis and charge down the right-hand side here. Espria chasing it down. He trips Davis. And that'll be a free kick in the end for Ipswich. Trying his best to get forward there. Yasser Espria, who's definitely been the best player on the pitch for me tonight for Watford. as we're going to get another Watford change, and their main man is coming on here. Fekun Bayo, the striker, who's been slightly isolated up front there. He's had not the greatest of service tonight. He'll be replaced by loanee from Forest, Emmanuel Dennis, who's at Watford in his second spell at the club. Was sold last season in the summer for £10 million to Forest, and he returns here from Forest on loan. He's been here since January. He's got 2 in his last 4 against Birmingham and Leeds. Scored 4 altogether since joining back in the last transfer window. But they need him to be resolute defensively as he gets the ball here and plays it out to the right to Espria on halfway. Back through for Dennis, who can't get it through the legs of Burgess. Really sloppy giveaway possession there by Emmanuel Dennis. And it's now with Luongo, who's got the run out to the right here of Sarmiento. He goes to Morsey instead, and it eventually works its way out here to Sarmiento in the final third. Lays it back here to Morsey. Out wide it goes to Clark. Morsey again. Forward here and flick through towards Sarmiento. Al-Hamidi takes over instead. And his shot to the near post is blocked behind by Pollock. And there's so little spaces for Ipswich to work in. But they just about worked it through there with that flicking behind. And it was Al-Hamidi the one to shoot. Wasn't too far away. It was a really good defensive block there by Pollock. And with 3.5 minutes left of the 90, Ipswich are banging at the door. But they've not got through yet. Referee wants a word here with the crowded 6-yard box. Be a left-footed in-swinger. So you know exactly where this is going. Into that 6-yard box, trying to put it on top of the goalkeeper. Maybe forcing an error or winning the first ball. As the referee killing the momentum of the game again. What in words with the defence and the attackers of both sides. So eventually the referees had the words with the players who were causing the most trouble. And it will be Davis to deliver. Right arm raised. Left-footed cross. It's a header won by Pollock at the near post. Falls to Espria, who helps it on. And away up to the halfway line where it'll reach Clark for Ipswich. He goes back here to Haladki, who's just outside of his 18-yard box. He goes long with the clearance. Up towards Burgess, who stayed forward from the back. It goes beyond him and to Al-Hamidi. Towards the corner flag on the near side. He gets it away from Hoot, who slides in aggressively. Kicks it straight out to play for a Watford goal kick. Couldn't quite create anything from that left wing. Ali Al-Hamidi, who moved to England at the age of 1 due to the Iraq War. Moved to Liverpool. The now 22-year-old. Who joined Wimbledon permanently January of 2023, then left permanently in January 2024 to join Ipswich as the long ball from Backman, headed forward by Clark. Hoot volleys away, out to the Watford right, controlled on halfway by Andrews, switches it to the left here, where it'll be Kone to chase it down. Clark will get there first, and he shields it out for a throw-in for the home side. And he throws it quickly here to Haladki towards the byline. Clears it quickly, down the Ipswich right. It'll be a header won by, he misses it, Porteous in fact, and eventually cleared away by the foot of Hoot, where it's volleyed forward by Wolfenden. Al-Hamidi will chase it down the right-hand side here. In the final third, he'll reach it, he'll keep it in, and he'll kick it off Hoot, and it'll be a throw-in for Ipswich right next to the corner flag on the far side. Well won there by Al-Hamidi because there wasn't much around him as he was chasing that Wolfenden volley, which was the clearance forward for Ipswich. Clark is going to go long with this throw-in again. He'll more than likely go in towards the near post. In it goes. Header won by Porteous. Drops to the edge of the box here for Morsey, who's going to cross it himself. Header won by Pollock this time for Watford. Headed back in by Davis. Header won by Kayembe. It drops to the chest here of Andrews as Watford try and break. Brought down from behind. Nothing given. Shrugged down to the ground by Burgess. Good defending there for Ipswich as they win the ball back immediately. Luongo pushed to the ground there by Esprit. And that'll be a free kick. Just the 4 minutes added on. 4 minutes for Ipswich to put themselves to the top of the Championship table. This draw puts them second. Davis towards the edge of the box, taking off Al-Hamadi. Cleared by Kayembe to Esprit, who will volley it with his left foot forward towards the halfway line. Headed forward by Burgess. Headed back by Deli Bashiru. Miscued volley there, and it's played back forward for Ipswich by Morsey. Can't find Al-Hamadi. And it's cleared by Watford, and it's controlled by Esprit. Straight to Davis. And it's back with Ipswich on halfway here with Luongo. Finds Morsey. Back to Burgess to keep the possession. As Watford are pressing well. They're sitting in their shape well as well, making it so difficult for Ipswich to attack down their right flank here. Hutchinson, he's got the right back ahead of him of Clark. Goes inside instead here to Morsey in the central area. Goes to his left to Luongo. Forward to Chaplin. Not really done much since coming off the bench. Davis inside to Luongo in the corner of the box on the left-hand side. Squares it. It's dummied. Morsey can't quite shift it onto the right side, and it's cleared by Lewis for Watford. Just not quite coming together for Ipswich yet. But they still have less than 3 minutes to play of added on time. It's in the centre circle with Burgess. All the time on the ball. Waiting for the right option. Laying it off short to Morsey. Who's going to look out to the Ipswich right. Finding Hutchinson. Finds Clark. It's a heavy pass, but he will keep it in. And he'll take a heavy touch down the line. He can keep it in. But the cross goes nowhere. Dealt with by Porteous, who finds the left winger here of Ishmael Kone. Goes forward to Emmanuel Dennis, who slips on halfway. Gives it to Burgess. And Watford will have to sit tight here for the last couple of minutes. They're going to be bombarded with attacks. Can they see through this precious point? Which would leave them unbeaten under Tom Cleverley. It's on the far side with Clark. Goes inside to the left here to Morsey. Keeps it away from Kayembe. Burgess, midway inside the Watford half. Finds Morsey. Tripped by Dennis. Free kick for Ipswich. It's not a great angle, really. It's right down the centre of the pitch. About 35 yards out, so possibly too far away for a shot at goal. It would take some shot to beat Bachmann in the Watford goal. So they'd probably be better off trying to work an angle to cross this ball in. 38 people in. Thank you very much, everyone who's here. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, make sure you do before you leave. As Ipswich have got one last chance. As I believe Watford are making a change here. Yasser Esprit off for Tom Ince. He won't be doing much scoring, but Tom Ince has a good record against Ipswich, 5-10. But he'll just be defending for the last minute of this game. Davis, the one to deliver the cross. In it goes to the far post, where it goes all the way through and behind for a goal kick. Ipswich are claiming that a corner should have been the decision made, but I don't think there was a touch in there. And it'll be a Watford goal kick, and with 30 seconds to play, this will be a really impressive point here from Watford, who have drawn recently now against two of the top three, drawing at home 2-2 to Leeds, and now 0-0 away at Ipswich. As Bachmann eventually takes the goal kick. Long into the Ipswich half, flicked on by Dennis, straight to Burgess, who goes across to the right back of Clark. His clearance deflects off Kone towards Dennis, but it's taken off him with the clearance from Burgess. As far as Kembe on halfway, who loses out now to Morsey. It's now with Luongo. To the right it goes now to Clark. Just waiting for the referee's whistle. Sarmiento away from Kone, but cleared by Kayembe, who's going to go for the long strike. It's just about saved by Hladky. Oh my word, that would have been a twist in this story. It fell to Kayembe. I don't know if he was shooting or he was just getting rid, but Hladky was clearly off his goal line. It's gone over him. He scrambled backwards there to save that from going into the back of the net. That would have been one of the goals of the season by Edo Kayembe. And maybe for Watford, as we played an extra minute of added time, they go short here. Bashiru holding it in the corner. Chaplin's trying to take it off him. And that'll be that. Whistle blown. It finishes here, Ipswich 0, Watford 0. Ipswich fail to take their chance to go top of the division. All of the top 3 teams have dropped points this midweek. Leicester losing to Millwall. Leeds drawing to Sunderland. And now Ipswich finding it almost impossible to get the ball in the back of the net in this game against Watford as it ends 0-0. Thanks to everyone who has joined. Make sure you like and subscribe before you go. And if you want to know the next commentaries, you can see them just nicely going along the screen at the bottom. The next one is tomorrow, 8 o'clock kickoff, UK time. Leverkusen taking on West Ham in the Europa League quarter-final first leg. And the one after that, we're looking at the women's game. Manchester United taking on Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. That is on Sunday. So 2 commentaries coming up for the rest of this week. We're also doing a Monday commentary where Everton travel to Stamford Bridge to take on Chelsea in the Premier League. But what a frustrating night for Ipswich, who have lost their chance to go top of the league. It does put them to second. They are in the automatic spots as it stands, a point above Leeds, who have played the same amount of games as Ipswich. So it is in Ipswich's hands for that final automatic promotion spot. It is in their hands, but they have got 3 games coming up against playoff chasing teams. It will not be easy. They've struggled a lot in that second half. Never really looked like scoring, in all honesty. Watford defended really well. They've definitely got something going on under Tom Cleverley as interim head coach with that really solid back 5 system which can turn into a 3. Watford never really looked like scoring themselves right until the end, where Kayembe, from I think in his own half, I don't know if it was a clearance or a shot, it ended up turning into a shot as Ipswich lost it, fell to Kayembe, he just slammed it forward. He went over Haladke, who was out of his 18-yard box, I believe. He had to scramble back and he just about palmed it away from goal. That would have been such a disaster for Ipswich if they were to lose tonight after dominating a lot of the game, but just finding it hard to get through the Watford defence, who set up so solidly. And for Ipswich, a point will have to do. They haven't drawn since mid-February here. It does mean, though, they've only lost 1 of 21 games here. They are now unbeaten in 19 at home in the Championship, equaling a record that they set in March 2007 through to January 2008, where they went 19 unbeaten in the league as well. But in terms of automatics, a point is okay. It keeps them 1 above Leeds in second place. But it does leave them, unfortunately, second in the table. Same points as Leicester, but Leicester have a game in hand and they also have better goal difference, Leicester. So Leicester are just above them on goal difference, but Leicester have a game in hand, so they could take that lead to 3 points or 1, or it could stay at no lead for them. They might lose that game in hand. We'll have to wait and see. But Leeds and Ipswich, they've both played 42. Ipswich in second on 88 points. Leeds just trail them on 87. It's going to be such an exciting end to the season. I cannot wait to see how it plays out. I'll try and bring you as many Championship commentaries as possible, which have an effect on that title and that promotion race, because we're going to get so many dramatic games now, from now till the end of the season. Top commentary again, cheers mate, thank you very much. I'll watch it again, genuinely I'm glad you find them entertaining. I'm shocked you do. Great commentary, mate. Thank you very much, Matt. Bad match, but you made it so good. Thank you very much, Terry. I do try and make the boring games, I try and make every game sound as exciting as possible. That was a struggle though, because there just wasn't a lot of big chances there for Ipswich. They hit the post in the first half, but the second half, Watford were the better team for the first 20 minutes of that second half. Around the 70th minute, Ipswich started to take over, made changes, brought on the likes of Sarmiento and Chaplin and Al Hamadi. None of them 3 attacking changes really made a difference for Ipswich. I don't think any changes would have helped Ipswich tonight. I think Watford were that solid. Watford have now got 12 clean sheets for the season. They've got 6 at home, 6 away. They're 1 clean sheet. They're 2 clean sheets behind Ipswich, who are on 14. It isn't a clean sheet for Ipswich. It's just their 5th at home. And Watford have now kept 4 clean sheets in their last 10. They are now just 2 defeats in 13 away from home for Watford, so they're in decent form, just not necessarily picking up wins. They're more or less drawing a lot. That's now 4 draws in a row for Watford, but they are unbeaten in 5, so they're not losing. That's a positive. I know they're not winning, but they're not losing. You'd much rather draw than lose, of course. Just even though it's just a single point, it all adds up in the end. I will subscribe. Top job, mate. Thank you very much for that. Had so many views. We did have a lot. I know we're losing them now because the game's ended, but yeah, we hit a peak of 41 people, which is really cool. That really helps the channel out as we're getting really close now to being able to monetize the channel, which would be a really good landmark to hit. That's kind of my aim for this year, because I've had the full season just to commentate. Finished college last year, and I've literally just been allowed to commentate all year. As you can see on the channel, I've done so many games this season. So the plan was to hit to push on from 1,000 subscribers and try and get to monetization, and we're nearly there. We'll get there hopefully in a few weeks' time. But the next 3 commentaries coming up, mentioned it before. Leverkusen, West Ham tomorrow. In the Europa League, we are then covering Manchester United women taking on Chelsea women on the Sunday in the FA Cup semi-final. We're covering the Monday game where Chelsea take on Everton, and the next confirmed commentary for next week, there will be more, but the next confirmed one will be on Thursday again. We'll be doing the second leg of West Ham Leverkusen, so we're doing both legs of that Europa League quarter final. But if you subscribe with notifications on, you'll know exactly when I go live anyway. You'll be reminded. So that's how you can keep up to date with what live commentaries will be coming up on the channel. But that will be the end of the live stream tonight. Unfortunately, there was no goals. I was hoping for a late dramatic one at the end. We almost got one with Watford's Edo Kayembe, but it was well saved by Heladki as Kayembe nearly scored from within his own half. But for Ipswich, it's frustration. They had a chance to go top. They fluffed their lines. The top 3 all dropped points. It shows that the pressure is really taking their toll on all of the top teams. It's going to be a real fight to the end to see who gets promotion to the Premier League. But here tonight, Ipswich can't break through. They leave this game with a 0-0 draw, as at Portman Road it does finish. Ipswich 0, Watford 0.